A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
Jerry, at Fair Oaks.
Sergeant Alden. Sergeant Alden.
Yes? Oh, Jerry. Hello?
Excuse me, sir, but I like to know how it's going in there.
About Lee and Tubby, you mean?
Yes, sir. And about Red Morrison.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think your friend Morrison is going to get off without a scratch this time.
What do you mean, sir?
Well, it seems that Lee did start the fight after all.
Did he say so, sir?
Well, I suppose he was telling the truth, wasn't he, Jerry? Or do you think he was trying to protect Morrison?
No, sir, Lee did hit Red first, but, well, Red had it coming to him.
Well, that isn't the point, Jerry. Whether or not Red did have it coming is beside the issue. Lee hit first and provoked a fist fight.
I see.
Then Lee deliberately disobeyed my orders to return to his room and stay there. So did Tubby Young.
But they wanted to tell me about Splendor.
I know that, too. But you see, Jerry, whether or not he wanted to tell you good news is beside the point. He disobeyed my orders and came back to the field. You've got to understand that discipline comes first.
Yes, sir. I see. But, well, what do you think they'll do to Lee and Tubby?
Oh, I wouldn't worry too much about that if I were you, Jerry.
Huh? Well, what do you mean, sir?
Well, I think the court understands pretty well under what circumstances Lee did what he did do. I think, too, that they'll take those circumstances into account when they pass sentence.
And he won't be kicked out? He won't get too much punishment?
Why don't you wait and see, Jerry? That session is in there. Should be just about over.
Yes, sir. I'll wait right here.
Okay, Jerry. Oh, by the way, I heard about why you raised that jump a foot during the meet.
Who told you? Oh, I beg your pardon, sir. I didn't mean to speak that way.
Oh, never mind, Jerry. Just let me go down on record as saying it was pretty clever. Now I've got...
Oh, there they are, sir.
All right, Jerry. Now you run along and see what Lee and Tubby got for themselves.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Goodbye, sir.
Okay, Jerry. I'll see you later.
Hey, Lee. Tubby.
Jerry, hiya.
Come on, Jerry. I want to get as far away from that room as possible. Ooh, now I know what you went through during the trial.
Lee, what did they do?
It was nothing, sir. Absolutely nothing.
Nothing? Say your knees were shaking so much they rattled.
Yeah? I guess you weren't as pale as a sheet.
I was. Ooh, boy.
Oh, for the love of Mike, won't somebody tell me what they did to you? What'd you get?
Well, Tubby and I have to stay within bounds for a week, and we each got 10 demerits.
Is that all?
10 demerits added to what I've already got just about fixes me up as the champion demerit getter of all time.
10 demerits and kept within bounds for a week? For what you two did? Golly, that's almost nothing at all.
You're telling us.
Well, how come? I thought they really gave it to you for disobeying command.
Come on, let's walk toward the doorway and I'll tell you all about it.
All right.
My friend, you're about to be ordered to.
Quiet, Tubby. If you'd kept your mouth closed on the day of the meet, we might not have been here at all.
Okay. For showing the school spirit, I'm an outcast.
We'll walk over to the gym and you can tell me all about it, Lee.
Okay. Well, Captain Gardner and Captain Bogart just asked a few questions, and then they asked Sergeant Alden what he had told us to do.
And wasn't Sergeant Alden swell?
I'll say he was.
Well, look, you two, Why don't one of you tell the story instead of giving it to me in episodes? I can't tell where you are.
All right, keep quiet, Tubby.
Okay, I'm a mouse.
A rat.
All right, so I'm Red Morris.
Oh.
Go ahead, Lee.
Wait till we get out the door.
Okay. Go ahead.
Well, I had to admit that I hit Red Morrison first and that he hadn't made a move at me except when he hit back.
But did you tell them why you hit him?
No, the lug. All he said was that Red made him so mad that he hit him.
Am I telling this story?
Sure. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, Sergeant Alden told us to go back to our rooms and stay there, but that we'd come back against orders. Well, Red Morrison didn't come back, so he wasn't in on that part of it.
Uh-huh.
But Sergeant Alden explained to the court that under the circumstances, he'd recommend leniency. He said he could understand because of the excitement and because I was bringing you good news about Splendor, Jerry.
Uh-huh. So you got kept within bounds for that, huh?
Yep, and there you have the whole story, Mr. Dugan. The whole story.
Ah, you left out the chapter about Red Morrison. How about him?
Oh, well, he got 5 demerits.
5 demerits? Is that all?
Mm-hmm. He got those for being in the fight.
Why, he should have got 25.
Well, he did stay in his room when he was sent there, so all he got was demerits.
I still say that I'll take 20 more for another sock at that Red Terror.
Pipe down, Tubby. The best thing you and I can do is forget the whole thing.
Okay. I'll forget about it when I'm talking. But in my mind, I'll always cherish the thought of planting 5 on the Morrison chin. Wowie, was that a thrill. Young swings his right. It lands. Morrison is down. He's up. Young swings again and misses. But you can't stop him, folks. You can't stop him. He's in again. He's out. He... Oh, golly, there's Captain Bogart looking right at me.
Yeah, does he think you're crazy? He's just walking away, looking back at you over his shoulder.
Tubby, you'll never learn.
Gentlemen, I was carried away by the enthusiasm of my own dramatics.
Someday you'll be carried away in a little white wagon.
Yeah.
You know, you can't always get people to believe you aren't crazy the way you act.
Say, I've got an idea. Let's go down to the basement of the gym and take another look at Mr. X.
Oh, yeah, the old plane Mr. Linwell had brought down here. Okay by me. What do you say, Lee?
Mm-hmm, right with you. It's in bounds.
Right. Here we go.
Say, I haven't seen Red's roommate for a day. Wonder where he's keeping himself.
Bruce Down Campbell? Oh, I guess he's with Red letting Morrison weep on his shoulder.
Well, I don't think we ought to razz Bruce Lee.
Oh, I'm not razzing him, Jerry, but, well, you've got to admit that he is Morrison's pal right now.
I thought you fellas were going to the gym. You're walking right past it.
Yeah, okay. Well, let's go in.
I guess Mr. Linwell's here with Mr. X.
The classes in aeronautics start next Monday. Did you know that?
No. Where'd you find that out?
Ted Metcalf told me.
Oh.
He's going to be a pilot, you know.
Yeah, I heard him say something about it one day. Go ahead, Jerry.
A lot of fellas in here today.
Mm-hmm, yeah, practicing basketball.
Come on, let's go down to the basement.
Okay.
Say, it doesn't look as though anyone's down here.
Mr. Linwell will be here.
There's no light.
Switch it on. The button's right by you.
Oh, yeah.
Say, there isn't anybody here.
Mm-mm. Well, come on, let's see what it's all about. Well, what do you know about this?
Huh? Well, what's the matter?
Well, there's not a soul here.
Say, where's Mr. X?
The plane? It's not here.
Hey, look, there's the engine.
Yeah, I see it. But I wonder where the rest of it is.
There's crates over there. Let's take a look in them.
Mm-hmm, come on.
Hey, take a look in that one, Lee.
Yeah, I am. Say, part of the fuselage is in here.
Fuselage? What's that?
The body of the plane. Hey, and look what I found in here.
What, Jerry?
What do you call the things that stick up out of the back of the plane?
Rudder?
Yeah.
Fins?
Yeah. They're packed away in here.
Say, those were out the other day when we came down here.
Say, that's funny. The plane was almost all together that day.
Say, you don't suppose, Jerry, that...
What?
Well, you don't suppose we're not going to have a class in aeronautics after all, do you?
Well, they said we'd have one.
Well, this doesn't look like it. They're crating Mr. X back in boxes. Looks like they're taking him away again.
Yeah. Lee, I'm going to find out what this is all about.
How are you going to do that?
Well, I'm going to see if I can find Mr. Linwell. I'm going to ask him.
That's a good idea. Come on.
Oh, gee, fellas. Remember me?
Well, get a move on, Tubby. We're going to see what this is all about.
Yeah. Gee, Lee, if anything has happened to Mr. Linwell, I hate to think what'll happen to poor little Harold.
Well, maybe we're just making mountains out of molehills.
Step on it, fellas. Come on.
Yeah. Step on it and forget the rear guard. One Tubby Young. Where are we going?
To Mr. Linwell's cottage.
Yeah, this way.
Up this way, we'll take a shortcut.
Hey! Wait up, will you?
No time, Tubby. Hey,
What? What's the matter, Lee? What'd you see?
look over there, toward the polo field. Isn't that Mr. Linwell out there?
Yeah, he's the only one around here who uses a cane.
I'm saying maybe we won't have to walk so far. Mr. Linwell seems to be coming this way.
Yeah, here he comes.
Look, it looks like there's some workmen out there measuring off something.
Say, this is getting to be a mystery. Wonder what it's all about.
Search me. Come on, let's walk to meet Mr. Linwell.
Yeah, okay.
Can't we wait here until he gets to us?
Just a little way, Tubby.
That just a little way will kill me.
Hey, wait a minute. Hello, Mr. Linwell.
Oh, hello, Jerry. Hi, Lee. Tubby.
Hello, sir.
Boy, am I glad you were walking this way, Mr. Linwell. These two guys had the legs walked off of me.
Why, what's the trouble, boys?
Well, we were just down in the basement looking for you.
Yeah, and you weren't there.
No, I wasn't. If I'm not in one place, I must be in another. What's trouble you?
Well, sir, we saw that Mr. X, the plane, was all crated up and ready to be sent away, and we want to know why.
And what makes you so sure he's going to be taken away?
Well, he's all crated and ready to go.
Oh, I don't know about that. Suppose we sit down here on the grass, and I'll tell you all about it.
Yes, sir.
Well, I suppose I can tell a story in a very few words. You know, it seems that Mr. X is a little too large for his quarters.
Huh? Well, I mean, why, sir?
Too large?
Oh, does that mean we aren't going to have him here?
Whoa, take it easy. Mr. X isn't going to leave here now or any time. He's just moving into quarters that'll be large enough to hold him.
Well, I don't think I get it, Mr. Linwell.
No, neither do I. If he's all crated and ready to
wait
go...
Wait a minute. Mr. X is going to take a trip, but a very short one. See where those workmen are measuring off that spot out there just next to the polo field?
Yes, sir.
Well, that's going to be Mr. X's new home.
What do you mean, Mr. Linwell?
Well, we found out that in the basement of the gym, Mr. X didn't have quite enough room to spread his wings, so we're going to build him a hangar. And while we're at it, we're going to build some shops for the aeronautic classes.
Oh, boy, that's swell, isn't it, Lee?
Oh, and how?
One more little item, boys. Major Davis wants every one of the cadets to help build it. And whoever helps will be able to work off a few demerits that way. Mm-hmm. Now, it seems to me that two cadets who aren't sitting very far away from me could use that privilege.
Yes, sir. When do I start working?
Well, Captain Bogart is out there right now. Why don't you ask him?
Work? Do you mean to tell me that I have to go out and work to get rid of some demerits? I'll keep them.
Listen, Cadet Young, for once in your life, you're going to work.
Well, all right, okay. I'll work off the 10 demerits. And later on, I'll be able to take another sock at Red Morrison. Work will become a pleasure. Lead the way, Cadet Phillips.
P-E-P-S-I. That's your smartest cola buy. Pepsi-Cola presents Counterspy.
Washington calling David Harding, Counterspy. Washington calling David Harding, Counterspy.
Harding, Counterspy, calling Washington.
United States Counterspies, especially appointed to investigate and combat the enemies of our country, both at home and abroad. Tonight, the case of the visiting Vultures. Another Counterspy report to the American people. Brought to you each Tuesday and Thursday by Pepsi-Cola.
Pepsi-Cola, it's a spot. 2 full glasses, that's a lot.
That's right, you heard what they said. 2 full glasses of sparkling Pepsi from one big 12-ounce bottle. You're getting an extra glassful. And what a delicious glassful. The most refreshing, delightful cola that ever tickled your taste. You can't top Pepsi's tangy flavor. And that big, big bottle saves you money, goes twice as far. Pepsi's America's big, big favorite. And America's biggest cola value. So why take less when Pepsi's best? Whenever you reach for refreshment, remember.
Why take less when Pepsi's best?
And now, to Counterspy. In a conference room in Counterspy headquarters in Washington, David Harding addresses a group of men around a long, shiny table.
Gentlemen, I'm honored by the presence here of the governors of the several southern states covered by our Counterspy districts 9, 10, and 11. We realize that your state administrations are faced with a large criminal operation, selling illegally made alcohol and evading federal taxes.
Peters, those figures, please. Yes, Mr. Harding. District 9, estimated tax loss, $221,000. District 10, $400,000. District 11, over $500,000.
Now, gentlemen, we don't yet know what gang makes that alcohol or where it's made, but all over your states, Counterspy squads are moving into action.
Here comes the truck, boys. Don't let it get by. It's loaded with 1-gallon corn syrup cans. That's what we're looking for.
Okay, buddy, pull up. United States Counterspy.
This is the place. It's a dance hall and cabin. They won't open up for us.
All right, men. Smash down that door.
Coming fast, but it's got to be stopped. If the truck doesn't stop, blast the tires. Get those tires!
So far, gentlemen, no useful leads have been obtained from truck drivers, tavern keepers, and others taken in these Counterspy raids. One lead of possible value has been found, however. My assistant, Harry Peters, is leaving tonight to investigate it in Chicago.
Hey, buddy, I'm looking for the main office of the famous Flanagan Sisters Corn Syrup Company. Is it in here?
No, this is only the garage. The office is in that snazzy little building right across the street.
Anybody here?
Excuse me.
Yeah, Buster, what'll it be?
I was looking for a secretary or a receptionist or something.
That little blonde dame there, usually. What's your problem?
I want to find out something about the famous Flanagan sisters.
Why, Buster?
I'm Harry Peters, United States Counterspy.
Well, Peters, I got news for you. I'm the famous Flanagan sisters.
You're the famous Flanagan sisters? All of them?
Yeah, it's only a trade name, and I bought the business a couple of years ago. My name's Hype Gordon. Sit down.
Thank you, Mr. Gordon. You believe in large offices?
Why not? I spend half my life here.
Is this one of your cans of syrup?
A sample, yeah. That label, that is a portrait of the original Flanagan sisters bending over a hot stove, making their corn syrup according to a receipt handed down from mother to daughters. Between you and me, the daughter should have handed it back.
Tell me, do you know what happens to your used cans?
Why?
Well, do you take them back, for instance?
Like milk bottles, you mean? No. Why?
A lot of them seem to be used for shipping illegal alcohol around the country. Labels ripped off, of course.
My cans where?
Into the so-called monopoly states where liquor is sold only by state-owned liquor stores. Bootleg liquor undersells those stores very profitably because somebody forgets to pay the federal alcohol taxes. We figure around $3 million on this particular operation alone.
Oh, you trace those cans to me.
Mm-hmm. Through the manufacturer.
You want to look around the place, Peters? I'll show you where we make the syrup and can it. 50, 60 employees I got. I'll even show you the garage where we ship it out to stores and wholesalers. Maybe I'll even give you a couple of cans to take home to the little woman. Come on. This way. Hello, Milky.
Yeah. That you, Mr. Gordon?
Listen, Counterspy is sniffing around my plant here.
Counterspy? Holy fish.
So don't send any more trucks here from the still till you get word from me.
Yeah. Mr. Gordon, you had 3 trucks loaded and ready to roll out of your garage, didn't you?
I got 'em out fast. So sit tight, Milky, and we'll be okay.
Yeah.
Peters to Harding in Washington. No evidence whatever at Hype Gordon's syrup plant to connect it or him with illegal alcohol manufacture. However, have sent agents to trail 3 loaded trucks that left his garage while I was there. Gordon himself also under surveillance. Has 3 cars, including limousine with French chauffeur. Lives in most expensive apartment hotel in Chicago, swarming with uniformed flunkies. Gordon's rental at least $15,000 a year for a lavishly furnished penthouse apartment.
Hey, Sleeping Beauty.
Oh.
Wake up, sweetheart. Lover boy.
Oh, hi. What are you doing?
Working. What else? It's only 12:30, Benny. Say, we got any bologna?
You fell asleep on a dive. I'm waiting for you. Must be love. What's the matter?
The famous Flanagan sisters and Uncle Sam.
Holy smoke. That?
I'm not sure yet.
But there's no time for you to get in trouble, lover boy. I still need that second mean coat. Oh.
Hey, I asked you if we got any bologna and pumpkin.
Oh, yeah. Right. Here we are, tonight, living in the most expensive apartment hotel in Chicago. And I have to keep bologna and pumpernickel in the icebox for you.
Refrigerator. What's the matter with bologna?
It is so crude. If it was only frog's legs and wine or something. But it's bologna and pumpernickel.
Thanks.
Huh.
How's something?
Please. Hi. How a visit with Uncle Sam?
No. I figure as long as they don't find out where my still is, they can't tie me up to it.
Oh.
I'm just going to sit around and smile. And after a while, the counterspies will figure I'm an innocent victim and go away.
Holy smoke, how's somebody at the door without being announced? Maybe it's Counterspy.
You go on down the hall to the bedroom. Stay there. Go on, go on.
Let me know what happened.
Yeah?
Well, hiya, Hype. Well, see, you look just exactly the way I thought you would. Yes, sir. Not one hair out of place. Press the flesh, Hype, old boy. It's good to see you.
Who the hell are you? Let go of my hand, will you? How'd you get past the doorman?
Oh, my, yes. Hey, look, do you mind if I grab my suitcase right here? I'm Sam.
Sam?
Yeah, Sam Vandervoort. Your wife's brother, Sam.
Sam?
Yeah.
Oh, Sam. Well, how are you?
Oh, great, Hype, great, just great. You see, I hopped the rattle out of St. Lou early today. Made up my mind to hit for the Windy City. You know, for a decent job. I need scope, Hype, and there ain't no scope in St. Lou. And, just between you and me, I come on ahead of Gladys so I could sneak in a couple of hot nightclubs, you know.
Gladys, coming too.
Oh, sure. You see, we thought it was about time we met the man my little sister Vinnie married last year. Hey, say, you got a mighty classy joint around here. Kind of small, though, ain't it?
There's only Vinnie and me. She's back, I better tell you.
Oh, no, hold it. Don't bother, Hype, don't bother. It's late and I could bed down right here. Uh-oh. Hey, ain't this one of them sofas that opens up into a bed? Ain't it, huh? Is it big enough for two?
What?
Well, you know, Gladys and I wouldn't want inconveniencing that. We'll be mighty comfortable right here in the living room.
You mean you couldn't get rooms in a hotel? I can work it for you.
Hotel, Hype? When I got relatives I'm as fond of it like you and Vinnie, I wouldn't dream of hurting their feelings by going to no hotel. Bologna and pumpernickel, huh? Good.
Yeah. Only I'm sorry there's no frog's legs.
Oh, don't feel bad about that, Hype. I love bologna and pumpernickel.
Counterspy Field Office, Chicago. Surveillance reports concerning the trucks followed from famous Flanagan Sisters Corn Syrup Company garage. They proceeded south by various routes to make deliveries to 18 illegal liquor users. They are being kept under observation. Relay this report to Mr. Harding in Counterspy Plane 1 en route Chicago.
Dave, I'm sure glad you're here in Chicago. This new development nails it right to Hype Gordon. He himself ships out alcohol under cover of shipping out corn syrup.
But where is the alcohol made? I see only one thing to do, Peters. Pull a new series of raids on his customers in the southern districts that might scare him into revealing where his still's located.
This tavern is being padlocked for violation of the law. Watch those rear windows. They're trying to get away. All right, step on it, Jack. We'll be late for the next raid. They're shooting at us. Blast the lock off that door.
Hello, Milky.
Hey, Hype! Hype, for the love of Mike, you better come out here to the still. Take it apart or something. Hey, you know about all these new Counterspy raids?
Listen, Milky. They can raid every joint in the country. Won't mean nothing to us so long as they don't locate the still. And they won't so long as I don't go there so the counterspies can tail me. You just keep your head down and sit tight.
Yeah. Sit tight.
We ought to do something.
No. This was another mob muscling in or something like those West Side guys 2 years ago, I'd go after them with guns. This has to be played close to the best.
Okay, Mr. Gordon. Suppose I have to call you later tonight. You're home?
Home? I can't go home till way later. My brother-in-law's visiting us. What a schmo.
So throw him out.
I can't throw him out. My wife sticks up for us. I'm nuts about my wife. Then there's my sister-in-law, Gladys. She's tall and skinny. She talks and talks and talks and talks.
And I never dream of mentioning it, Vinny. Only after all, you're my sister-in-law. And you know how Sam would never say a word unless he was sure.
Gladys, you said just now that he wasn't sure.
Well, after all, a wife ought to know how her husband earns his money. And after all, you only knew Hype 3 weeks before you married.
I know, Gladys. And Sam was always good to me. Especially after Pop died back home. But that doesn't give him or you the right to criticize Hype. I'm nuts about Hype.
Well, all Sam said was that he didn't think the famous Flanagan Sisters corn syrup company was very successful. And still, you and Hype have 3 cars, and you got 4 closets full of clothes, and that diamond ring.
Oh.
And then yesterday, Sam followed Hype around the city, and Hype didn't go anywhere near any customers.
Sam's been tailing. I mean, snooping around after Hype. Oh, that's contemptible. Oh, Hype? Lover boy? You're awfully late.
A lot of work for me. Hello, Gladys.
Hello.
Benny, I'm going to have some bologna and pumpernickel. Where's Sam?
In the kitchen, having some bologna and pumpernickel.
Time to hit the hay, Benny.
Yeah. Good night, Gladys.
Good night, Benny. Good night, Hype.
Benny, the guy drives me nuts.
Ooh.
Oh, Sam. And Gladys. Now, listen, sweetheart, how about kicking them out?
Well, they won't be staying much longer.
What do you mean, 2 years?
Now, lover boy.
They drive me nuts. They're always in the way. They sleep on the sofa.
Dive in.
Borrows my shirts. He's my bologna and pumpernickel.
Yeah.
It's getting so the only pleasure I have at home. Just taking off my shoes.
I can't throw Sam and Gladys out, lover boy. They're all the family I got left.
Benny, my customers down south got raided.
Oh.
I need a clear head, Vinny, and that schmo brother of yours gets me so mad I can't think straight. Listen, you know, I'll do something dumb. And, honey, it'll be his fault. I'll murder the guy.
Not so loud.
Where are my pajamas? Sam got my pajamas?
On the pillow. Hype, I guess this is no time for you to be upset, and I better tell you instead of you finding it out.
Find out what?
Well, Sam follows you around.
What?
No.
He follows me around. Sam, that iron-headed clam digger? I'll brain him now, so help me. Where the Sam Hill of my slippers? I suppose he's got them, too.
Hype, lover boy. Now, please don't make a scene. I'll get rid of them both by Saturday, I promise. Please, lover boy. Please.
In just a moment, we'll return to Counterspy, brought to you by Pepsi-Cola.
Pepsi-Cola, hits the spot. 2 full glasses, that's a lot. Lot more value, lot more zest. Why take less when Pepsi's best?
More and more, among fellows and girls, among mothers and dads, you hear that same and sensible question. Why take less when Pepsi's best? No budget, no allowance ever had a better friend than tangy, sparkling Pepsi-Cola. Because one big 12-ounce Pepsi bottle gives you 2 delicious drinks. That's twice as much tangy taste, twice as much delicious Pepsi to go just twice as far. That's why more and more families say, why take less when Pepsi's best? Yes, families like yours and mine. Families all over America. They're all saying, why take less when Pepsi's best?
Pepsi-Cola, it's a spot. Tastes terrific when you're hot. More and better than the rest. Why take less when Pepsi's best?
Today, tomorrow, always. Get America's biggest cola value. Take home a carton of 6 big Pepsi bottles. Insist on Pepsi at the store. And say Pepsi at the fountain. Say Pepsi at the stand. Say Pepsi. Whenever you reach for refreshment, remember,
why take less when Pepsi's best?
And now, back to Counterspy.
Peter, I've been studying the surveillance reports on Hype Gordon.
Yeah, me too, Dave.
He hasn't made a single betraying move. It's great. We smash his customers, stop the tax losses. We know he ships out the alcohol. But what we don't know is where's that still.
On the moon, maybe.
Well, I've got one notion that might be useful. Did you notice in these reports about Hype Gordon's brother and sister-in-law visiting?
And driving him crazy, yes.
Peter's relatives and in-laws often make trouble for decent people. Why not trouble for crooks, too? I think this Mr. Sam Vandervoort might be a lot of help to us, with a push from you.
And Sam, maybe I shouldn't have said anything about you following Hype around, but it just sort of popped out.
Oh, well, Gladys, it don't make no difference. I couldn't find anything out anyway. I guess we'll have to go back to St. Louis Saturday, maybe. Where are they tonight, Hype and Vinny?
I don't know. We got the apartment all to ourselves, and I must say it's a relief to have a little privacy. Oh, somebody's at the door. You go, Sam, and if it's a telegram or anything for Hype, you better open it in case it's important.
Yeah?
Says Hype in? Hype Gordon?
No, he's not. Can I give him a message?
You a friend of his?
No, I'm his brother-in-law.
Oh, well, give him this message, will you? Rush. Tell him to get out to the still right away.
Get out to the still right away? What name will I tell him?
He'll know where the message is from. So long.
Who was it, Sam? Telegram or special delivery? Sam, I asked you a question. Why don't you answer me? Sam, something's happened. I can always tell by your face whenever you got an idea. Now, why don't you tell me?
What?
I said, I was thinking, Sam,
shut
that...
up, will you? I'm trying to think. Vinny! Vinny, it's me. Sam? Gladys? Oh, well, nobody. Yeah?
Hi, this is Vinny. Where have you been?
To the athletic club, like I told you. Where are you?
I drove Sam out here. Only Hype, the minute we got here and told Milky, he got all excited and ran away. All the other men, too.
Milky. The other man. Vinny, are you at the still? With Sam?
I couldn't help it. The minute Sam told me about the message he got. We couldn't find you and we didn't dare wait.
Vinny, I don't know what's going on, but I'm going to kill somebody for it. Don't move. Don't do anything. I'll come right out.
Hype, you don't have to yell at me. I was only trying to help.
Help! Help! You and Sam together. You've made me do the one thing I swore I'd never do. Come out to this still so I could be tailed.
Hype, you got me and Vinny all wrong about
Sam, you shut up. Now, what'd you bring that idiot along for, too?
Me?
Gladys? Look, all of you. I'm trying to find a hand on this, on what happened. Now, what happened?
Well, while we were out, you and me, that is, Hype.
A guy come to the door with a message for you to get out to the still right away.
A guy? What guy?
Well, I thought he was sent by Milky.
Milky wouldn't send a guy. He phoned. And so you came out here. Sam, what did you butt in
Oh,
for?
Hype, you'd better listen to what I got to say.
Tell him, Sam.
Gladys, you shut up or I'll brain you. All right, let's have it, Sam.
All right. You think I'm a chowderhead, don't you? But I figured out right from the start you had a racket, and the minute that guy talked about a still, I was sure of it.
So?
So I want a job. Here, working for you.
We're at the famous Flanagan Sisters Corn Syrup Company. Or else I talk.
Sam! You told me you only wanted to help, Hyde.
Shut up, Penny. You'll talk, Sam. To the counterspies. Oh, Bright Eyes, you listen to me.
Now, hold your horses, Hyde. Just give me a job and I won't talk.
Talk, you big baboon, you! That message wasn't for Milky. It was a counterspy gag, a trap, and you walked into it. I gotta walk into it, too, to get you out. Give me a job, he says. Give me a job, you rockhead. I might be out of business altogether before morning.
Oh, Hyde.
I don't buy all that hype. You can't brush me off that easy.
What? Vinny. Go on out to the car. Stay there. We may have to leave fast. I'll douse all the lights in here. Sam, you win. You and Gladys come on with me. I'll show you something. See, Sam? What my flashlight shows now? The alcohol's made upstairs. From here, through this cellar, the alcohol gets piped to my corn syrup factory. Our pipeline runs 2 miles in an abandoned sewer we found.
Gosh, what a setup. Hype, I sure gotta hand it to you, fella. Huh, Gladys?
Yeah, it's remarkable.
Sam, how would you like to stay here?
Work here?
Sam, he's up to something. Hype, you take us out of this cellar this minute.
Yeah, Hype. Let's talk about it outside.
We'll talk right here. I don't believe there was any message. You rushed Vinny off her feet. Now you want to sneak out and squeal on me. You rotten counter-spy stool.
What, me? You're crazy, Hype.
Get it out!
Hype! You have to go over. I'll go.
Now, Sam will be quiet. You stay here with him, Gladys.
It'll be dark. No air. We'll die down here, you murdering.
So long, both of you. For good.
Hi.
Vinny, why aren't you outside like I told you?
Oh, the strange cars all around. I get scared. It's so dark and creepy here.
Cars? Holy smoke, we gotta get out of here.
We can't leave Sam and Gladys.
Never mind them. Come on, there's a side door.
But Sam and Gladys... Oh, it's all right. Never mind.
What?
Oh, that doorway over there from the cellar where you were just saw flashlight. Sam, Gladys, over here.
Gordon, Mrs. Gordon, stand where you are.
Counterspy, Gordon.
Vinny, what's that?
Oh, good, Gordon, drop the gun. Look out.
Stop resisting, Gordon. The entire building's surrounded.
I don't want to get hurt.
That's better. Handcuffs for Gordon, Peters. With pleasure. Gordon, you and all of your men are under arrest for making and selling illegal alcohol. Just now as we came in, we found Sam Vandervoort and his wife in the cellar. You'll be charged with their attempted murder.
Hi. You didn't.
Sam's a dirty stool pigeon.
Oh.
He was working for the counterspies. My own brother-in-law.
You're wrong, Gordon. We only tricked him to trick you into leading us here to your still. Now your entire racket's smashed. All right, Peters, have these people held outside. Then we'll start taking this place apart.
When your friends drop in, be generous, but be thrifty, too. Serve plenty of delicious Pepsi-Cola. Pepsi's big 12-ounce bottle gives you not just one sparkling glassful, but 2. Get a carton of 6 and serve 12 delicious drinks. Yes, Pepsi is America's biggest cola value. You get twice the tangy taste, twice the refreshment, twice the Pepsi. So why take less when Pepsi is best? Whenever you reach for refreshment, remember,
Pepsi-Cola hits the spot. 2 full glasses, that's a lot. Lot more value, lot more depth. Why take less when Pepsi's best?
Tune in every Tuesday and Thursday, same time, same station to Counterspy. Listen on Thursday for the exciting Counterspy case of the Vicious Visitor.
Tangling with the criminal I call the vicious visitor was dangerous for all concerned. For his prison guards, it meant a beating in the dark. For his partner, bullets. And for the woman who had once known him, it meant death for her husband, death for herself. I invite you to be tuned in on Thursday to
Case of the Vicious Visitor on Counterspy. Tonight's Counterspy program originated in New York, was directed by Leonard L. Bass, dramatized by Paul Milton, and featured Don McLaughlin and Mandel Kramer, with music by Jesse Crawford. Counterspy is a Phillips H. Lord production for Pepsi-Cola. Enjoy some Pepsi ice cold tonight.
A corpse that wouldn't stay dead. A pistol with a silencer on it and a fortune in a black satchel. Spelled death for the big city boys when they finally got together in Lonesome, Arizona. Population, 802.
From the pen of Raymond Chandler, outstanding author of crime fiction, comes his most famous character as CBS presents The Adventures of Philip Marlowe. And now, with Gerald Moore, starred as Philip Marlowe, we bring you tonight's exciting story, The Lonesome Reunion.
At 8,000 feet on a clear afternoon, you can see enough Arizona real estate to become an authority on the subject. And as I huddled around a circle of window aboard an American Airlines flagship and gaped like a 2 weeks with pay vacationer at the carpet of sand, stone, and cactus unrolling a slow inch at a time below, I was impressed. Also, I was thinking about a job which was providing both the switch and scenery and 2 crisp $100 bills, less the cost of a round-trip ticket from L.A. to the capital city of Phoenix. But then, at the thought of money, I stopped sightseeing and started to think about the work ahead and how easy it had sounded that morning in my office. When Kay Gordon, who was something pretty and blonde, but slightly tarnished for 28, had hired me, all in one breath.
Marlowe, my brother Joe Gordon is in a room at the Granada Court Hotel in Phoenix, Arizona. In one hand, he no doubt has his usual smelly cigar. In the other, a small suitcase filled with a mess of papers, all legal, all proper. You fly there, pick up the suitcase, fly back. For that, $200 cash. Yes or no?
Yes, on one condition. The papers, do I get to see them? If I look, I go.
All right, you look.
Good, I go. Goodbye. That was the way it had started an hour after breakfast. Lunch was alone and at the airport. Dinner would wait until I'd seen Mr. Joe Gordon, a man who was willing to pay a lot for a little. My plane dropped out of the sky over Phoenix gently at 3. At 3:15, I was in room 111 of the Granada Hotel and only 36 smelly inches away from the usual cigar. The man behind it was heavy, pale, and maybe 40. And like his sister, Joe Gordon was overbearing in a hurry.
This, Marlowe, is the bag. These, the papers. Stocks, bonds, and mortgages. In themselves, worthless to anyone else. They're non-negotiable. But as information to my competitors, they're priceless. Satisfied?
More or less?
Meaning what?
Exactly what is your line, Mr. Gordon?
Oh, I'm a broker. One who bets on long shots. When they come in, I don't like to split with the boys who sit on their hand. Anything else?
Yeah. I've got some time to kill before I fly back. Do I take the bag now or later?
You take the bag now, Mark.
Okay.
And, don't let go of it until you're with my sister in L.A. I'm paying you money to stay away from my enemies, not to shop for trinkets. Oh, and, incidentally, my enemies also play rough. So watch your step and act smart. Real smart.
I still had 2 hours to kill when Gordon locked the bag and handed it to me after dropping the key in his pocket. So I decided to take a room there at the Granada Hotel, shave, shower, and stretch. The sleepy clerk in the lobby was not in a hurry, nor did he hear anything I said the first time. So when I finally got to my suite on the second floor, which had as much elbow room as the inside of a lifesaver, 30 of the idle minutes were already gone. I locked and bolted the door, checked all the windows carefully, and then peeled off my shirt, broke out my shave master, and reached for the knob on the bathroom door. But I never made it. Because as the door swung open, I caught a glimpse of a fist the size of a cantaloupe starting from my jaw. Oh!
I'll stay right there, Buster. The first time I swing, the second time I shoot, and I do both good.
Equal nice, huh? Everything all figured out ahead of time.
Yeah, but it ain't very hard, Marlowe. Especially when the guy you're after shouts it all to a desk clerk.
My error.
Yeah, which leaves just the three of us. Real cozy like.
3.
You, me, and 120 grand here in this bag.
You're way off base, brother. This bag's got papers in it, nothing more. They belong to a businessman. I said something?
Yes, you're very funny. Look, Buster, Joe Gordon's no more a businessman, and his real name is Joe Gordon. So after I leave, you go back to Sam Dietrich in room 111 and tell him that Marty Stopka says thanks.
For what?
For the $120,000 I've been waiting 2 long years for. And also tell him and Gigi Ganther, who might still be around, that Stopka had it all figured. Like you say, Marlowe, ahead of time.
I don't follow you, bud.
You're not supposed to. Just turn around, face the wall, and listen carefully. You tell Sam Dietrich that I knew he'd pull something like this just as soon as he got back into circulation. You got that?
Yeah. Word for word, Stopka.
Good. Now all you have to do is remember.
When Marty Stopka said remember it, he put that cantaloupe with fingers in the small of my back and shoved hard. By the time I got to my feet again, both he and the black bag were gone. That made Joe Gordon or Sam Dietrich my best bet. So I took the stairs to the ground floor fast and raced for the end of the corridor in room 111. But when I threw the unlocked door open, I found something I hadn't counted on. A curtain flapping in the breeze of an open window and nothing more. The desk drawers, the closet, the bureau empty. And on an end table next to the telephone, a bus schedule unmarked. At that, I was beginning to get very mad at a private detective with public patsy named Philip Marlowe. Then the telephone rang, and when I answered it, the operator said that she had a long-distance call for Joe Gordon. I said thanks, I'd take it. Hello?
Sam, this is Kay. Marlowe?
Yeah, honey, Joe Marlowe is in Brother Gordon, remember?
Oh, I can explain all that, Marlowe.
Oh, sure, baby, but not now, later. Later, after you've had a chance to think up a few more lies.
All right. So I didn't tell you the whole story. What's the difference? Did you get the bag?
I did, but I didn't get to keep it very long. Something ugly named Stopka wanted either it or my life, so I made a quick decision.
Stopka has the bag. Oh, that's great.
Yeah, isn't it, though?
What?
One thing, baby. I'm the decoy with suitcase for some kind of shenanigan that's wrapped around 120 grand, which you and Sam Dietrich have. And there's a trio in the act. Namely, Sam Dietrich, Marty Stopka, and one Gigi Ganther.
Gigi? Marlowe, have you seen Gigi?
Have
you, Marlowe?
Maybe yes, maybe no. Now, why don't you come clean? Admit you're happy that Stopka got the suitcase from me while Sam beat it out of an open window. That my part of the job is over with. Come on, baby, talk.
All right. I'll make it short and to the point. You got $200 for doing nothing. Out of that, 60-odd went for an airplane ticket. The rest is yours, right?
Go on.
There's no need to, Marlowe. I'm finished, and so are you. So why don't you just be a good fella and keep the change? So long, sucker.
When Kay Gordon hung up, I slammed the phone down, counted 10 twice, and went back to the unhappy business of getting mad at Marlowe. But again, I was interrupted. This time, it was a newspaper, the Phoenix Herald, sticking far enough out of the wastebasket under the telephone to expose the dateline, which made it exactly a week old. I picked it up and saw the 2 inches of story circled in pencil and slugged. 5 released from state penitentiary. Sam Dietrich, 41 of Los Angeles, who was arrested in Lonesome, Arizona for the armed robbery of a general store in February 1947, also was released today. Now everything was beginning to add, with one high-priced exception. Very few general stores in towns called Lonesome keep $120,000 in the till, even on a busy day. So I headed for the office of the Phoenix Herald and the chance that I could learn something about the cash involved from newspapers that were 2 years better than 1 week old. Minutes later, I was in the back shop of the Herald receiving facts willingly supplied by a sandy-haired linotype operator with a sad face who had never heard the word forget.
That's right, mister. It was the Second National Bank and Land Company here in town. Held up at 1:10 p.m., February 7, 1947, by 3 men who took $120,000 in unmarked 10s, 20s, and 50s. One was badly wounded in running gunfight, but they all got away clean.
No arrests, no suspects?
Well, other than the usual rigmarole of trying to pin the job on every 2-bit stick-up man hauled in the next 6 months, no. Anything else?
No, thanks. I don't think... Say, wait a minute. Lonesome, Arizona, that unmarked bus schedule. Tell me, do you happen to know where something called Lonesome is? And if so, how a guy could get there if he doesn't have a car?
Sure. It's 87 miles west of here, and the bus will do the trick. But not anymore today.
Oh.
The only bus left an hour ago. Now, young fella, you tell me something. What in Sam Hill is Lonesome and a bus departure got to do with a bank robbery was pulled 2 years ago?
Where I stand right now, Dad, I can't say. But when I get to Lonesome, ask me again. I may have the answer for you. I was 30 minutes renting a car and an hour and 30 minutes getting to Lonesome. Population 802. I drove without seeing anything that could possibly be mistaken for Sam Dietrich. And I was about to turn back when I saw something that brought my right foot down hard on the brake. It was a brand new green Nash standing outside a motel. California license plate. I got out of my car and got a look at the registration card wrapped around the steering wheel. It said Catherine E. Gordon. The motel only had 3 cabins that showed any light. The first belonged to the manager and the second to Kay. Close to an open window, I saw the man Kay was talking to. He was an ex-convict and part-time broker named Sam Dietrich.
All right. So Marlowe knows he was set up for Marty Stopka. Who cares? We're here, and so far Stopka isn't. And if and when he does show, we'll be gone. But the real black bag's safe in our hands.
Yes, but what about Gigi, Sam? I told you Marlowe mentioned his name.
And I told you to forget it. Marlowe must have been swinging in the dark. Gigi can't be alive, Kay. He was badly hurt when Stopka and I got clear of the bank.
But why wasn't his body found?
I don't know, Kay. I've told you that 1,000 times. Now, look, honey, why don't you just relax and think of us a little, huh? Gigi's dead, baby. There's only you and me.
Sam, you know how I feel about that. I love Gigi. It's the only reason I'm helping you. I don't want anything to do with this money. I only want to know for sure about Gigi.
Okay. Did you get a line on Leland Mills, the name that was on that mailbox 2 years ago?
Yes. He owns the place and lives there alone. A once-upon-a-time small ranch on the last block in town, coming apart at the seams.
What about Mills himself?
He's an old duffer, maybe 50. Lives close to the fireside, day in and day out.
Good. That means I can handle him without any trouble. And now, look, baby, it's 7 now. At 9, this town will be fast asleep, and at 10, I'll take care of everything. So, why don't you just curl up there on the couch and think about nice things?
Oh, nice things like what?
Well, like the money I hid at Leland Mills' place 5 hours after the boys and I took that bank. The $120,000 that's soon going to be back here with me where it belongs.
Dad, I took my cue and left because one Leland Mills was a man to be forewarned while 10 o'clock was still 3 hours away. I was 10 minutes finding his place, which was on the edge of town, and another 2 locating the doorbell, which was the kind you pull to start a bunch of jingling inside. It was 3 pulls later before the door creaked slowly open, and what had to be Leland Mills stood in front of me. He was shaggy, gray hair curling on the sides of his neck, a face with 1,000 crisscross wrinkles and dirty old clothes. Everything I'd expected with one exception. Gripped firmly in both hands and pointed directly at my head was a long rifle.
Who are you?
Mr. Mills?
Maybe.
Well, I'm a private detective named Philip Marlowe, also someone who knows that there's $120,000 in cash hidden here on your grounds.
$120,000?
To the penny, yes. 2 years ago, Mr. Mills, a Phoenix bank was robbed by 3 toughs named Dietrich, Stopka, and Gigi Ganther.
Gigi? That's a queer name.
It's not important, old man, but this is. Now, somehow or other, that stolen money was hidden here, in or around your place. And tonight, one of those men is due back to collect. That, of course, means trouble for you.
You think we should call the law?
No, not yet. If we play it smart, we can get the dough spotted first in at least one of the 3.
All right, Mr. Marlowe. If you're sure of what you're saying, I only hope you are. Oh, I'm sorry about this gun here. I don't like poachers on my land.
Yeah, we all have our pet peeves. Now, Mr. Mills, I want you to sit tight till I get back, and no matter what happens, don't open that door for anyone. Have you got that?
Yep. Where are you going?
To town. To check on the only 2 things that can possibly give us any unexpected trouble. One a nasty man named Marty Stopka, and the other a guy I've never even seen. The elusive Mr. G.G. Ganther.
In just a moment, we will return to the second act of the adventures of Philip Marlowe. But first, that elusive phantom voice will be back on CBS's great show, Sing It Again, tonight, And the prize for identifying him has now climbed to a value of $24,500. Yes, for music, suspense, and sensational prizes, don't miss the Sing It Again show tonight over most of these same CBS stations. And now, with Gerald Moore starred, we return to the second act of Philip Marlowe and tonight's story, The Lonesome Reunion.
I left Leland Mills standing in the doorway and worried my way back to town. If Stopka and Gigi Ganther had no more trouble getting to Lonesome than I did, a reunion about as quiet as a truckload of hot dynamite was due to take place any minute. I passed the motel where Kay and Dietrich had holed up and saw that her car had been moved into the stall between cabins and draped with a blanket to hide its California plates. So they were thinking along the same line that I was. At the hub of town, I parked and started to case the lively spots on Main Street, which took me all of 10 minutes at a slow walk. But a short side-of-the-mouth conversation with a couple of resident sports revealed that the local underground stemmed from the Red Dog Cafe, a warped wood two-story wiki-up on the one side street in town. It was operated by a hard-bitten blonde, 160 pounds of Western motif, complete with Stetson, red flannel shirt, Hickok belt, blue jeans, and the name, Flora. She sat at a table at the back of the barroom, lending a cynical ear to nobody else but my old pal, Stopka. I walked up behind him, and when he turned around, I hung one on him. A good one!
Hey! Lumpy, you jackass! What do you think you're doing?
Sorry, Flora, nothing personal.
Now, that's enough! Now, stop it, you hear me? No rough hustling in my joint. Come on, handsome, I mean you.
Me? Why, Flora, how can you say that? I just came in to ask my old pal here some questions, that's all. Here we go, pal. Come on, sit up in that chair.
Okay, leave me alone.
See, Flora? It's the only way Stopka here knows how to start a conversation. Bring him another beer, will you? His old one got spilled.
Sure, bright boy. Only see that you do tourists leave your beefs outside next time.
Now, look, Stopka, I want to know what happened 2 years ago on that highway out here. You guys split up, didn't you? You better talk, Stopka.
All right, we split up. The heat was on bad, and Gigi was half dead already from a cop slug in his back.
Dietrich had all the dough, right?
What do you think? I left him and Gigi off outside of town. I took the car to try to suck the cops away from him. We were supposed to meet later.
Just kept going to save your own hide, didn't you?
Certainly. It's going to pay off, sucker. You'll see.
Uh-huh. Since the money was never found, you figured Dietrich hid it around here, and he's coming back to dig it up. Is that it?
Keep guessing, Chalmers.
Maybe we ought to loosen your jaw again, Stopka.
That's all, you do. Now turn loose of him, handsome, and by Sadie, I'll plug you.
Well, a real genuine 44. What museum just swiped that from, Flora?
Never mind. Got a legal right to defend the peace and quiet of my joint, and after 22 years in this dodge, I know how to do it. Now, I asked you nice once, now I'm telling you. You, get out. That back door there.
Hey, sure, I'll go, sister. And thanks for nothing.
Hey, wait a minute, Flora. Don't let that lug get away.
Shut up. Now, you sit down right there and count up to 50. Then you leave by the front, quietly.
Okay, you win. 1, 2, 3... Flora, look out, he's back.
What?
Sorry, Eddie.
You buzzard bait.
I'll leave this cannon on the back steps. So long, Flora. I beat it out the back door and into an alleyway between the shacks. Stopka was still in sight, but walking fast, and when I took after him, he saw me and started to run. There was a hard, flat sound, like someone striking wet sand with a hammer. Stopka faltered and lurched up on his toes as if he'd suddenly changed his mind about running. At the same instant, on a wall, even with him, I saw the shadow of a man, holding a pistol with a long, awkward barrel. The hard, flat sound came again. Stopka curled up on himself and fell. And the shadow slid off the wall, disappeared. I ran for the wounded man, but by the time I got to him, there was no trace of the gunman. I rolled Stopka over. He was hit hard, slipping away fast.
Silence. Gigi always used a silencer. That punk Gigi.
He's dead, huh? You wise guys never know when to quit, do you? You're in real trouble now, handsome.
Hey, wait a minute. I didn't do this.
How come I couldn't hear the shots, the silencer?
Yeah, that's right. Trademark of a guy named Gigi Ganther. All I saw of him was his shadow on that wall there. Say, what kind of law have you got in this town, Flora?
None. Except the highway patrol, they stop in every night.
Okay, call him. Get him over here. This guy's Marty Stopka, wanted for a bank job, nearly 2 years old.
No kidding. Who are you, his trainer?
I'm a private detective who's got no business here, except I don't like to be pushed around. Now, listen, do you know Leland Mills' place at the edge of town?
Sure.
Will you get the cops out the Mills place by 10:30, do you understand? That's where the big attraction's going to be, if I can keep Gigi and his silencer from interfering again. Now let me down, beautiful.
I won't let you down, Handsome. For a city boy, you're all right.
I stuck to a back road and drove with my lights out until I was a good, safe distance beyond Leland Mills Ranch. Then I hid the car in a dry gully and walked back. The house was dark and still, and I thought once of what might have happened to Mills if Gigi had gotten there ahead of me. I kept in the shadows and worked my way across the yard to the back door.
Who's there?
Marlowe, open up.
I was beginning to worry. It's pretty near 10 o'clock.
Yeah, I know. Seen anybody so far?
No. Nope, not a soul. Been watching close, too. Did you find them men, that G.G., that Stopka?
Yeah. Stopka's dead and his killer's due to show up here any time now.
Oh.
We're going to have our hands full. Wait a minute. Is that a car?
Sure sounds like one. Yep. There, you can just make it out. Turned in down by the culvert and stopped.
Yeah. I think a man got out. Yeah, there he goes, across the field there behind your shed. It's Dietrich. I'm going out now, Mills. You stay here.
No, I'm going too. That fellow's heading right for my water tank.
All right, he's heading for your water tank. Don't get excited. You'll tip our mitt. Now get this, Mills. You've got to stay here and watch for Gigi. He's bound to show up, and when he does, you better have that rifle of yours handy, because he's a killer. Do you understand?
Yep. Sure, I understand. Don't worry, Marlowe. I'll keep my eyes open. Don't you worry about a thing.
Out of the door and started across the yard, I knew I was getting myself out on a nice, long limb. Leland Mills was about as reliable as William Tell with their hiccups, and the apple was on my head. It was too late to back up, so I skirted the barn, stayed below the crest of a low rise, and moved toward the elevated water tank until I heard a shovel biting dirt. I got a comfortable grip on my gun and headed up over the rise to where I could see. Yeah, it was Dietrich, all right. He was bent over under the tank and working on a hole as if his life depended on it. He didn't even look up until I was almost on top of him.
Who is it? Who's there? Who is it?
Me, Mr. Gordon. Marlowe.
How did you get here?
Wasn't easy, Sammy boy. But I had to come and apologize for losing your precious bag full of waste paper.
You sure picked a dangerous time to show, sucker. You were fired once. Too bad you can't take a hint.
Uh-huh. And being tagged as a patsy is lousy for my business, Dietrich. You should have thought of that. So just leave your hands on that shovel handle, Sam, and keep on digging. Maybe I'll let you take a peek at that $120,000 before I turn you both over to the police. Go on, dig.
No. Not so fast, Marlowe.
Mills, I told you to stay in the... Hey, that's quite a pistol.
Don't move. Neither one of you. I'll kill you if you move. You, Marlowe, drop your gun. Drop it. So this is where it's been all the time. $120,000. I've looked everywhere, every day, for 2 whole years, but I never thought of looking here under a water tank.
You mean you knew where the money was all the time? You lie. I'm the only one that knew that.
Oh, no. One night, 2 years ago, I heard a noise in my barn. It was a man groaning. I looked in and I saw him. He was wounded. And I saw you when you come back from burying the money. I overheard the whole thing. You wouldn't tell them where you'd hidden it. You said you'd never tell anybody. But I was sure I could find it. And I looked everywhere except...
Yeah, Mills, everywhere except here, under the water tank, where you buried Gigi's body after you killed him. And with his own gun at that.
Oh, no, I didn't kill him. Dietrich here did. I only buried him so nobody would find out that him and Dietrich had stopped at my place. I almost went crazy looking for that money, but now I know where it is, and I'm going to have it.
Oh, you fool. You don't think I'd come out here with nothing but a shovel, do you? A friend of mine is right behind you with a gun in her hand. Now, come on, drop yours, Rube. Come on, drop it. All right. Kay.
That's an old trick, Dietrich.
Let him have it. Shoot, Kay, shoot.
Didn't work, did it? I knew I'd have to kill you sometime anyway if you ever came back, so...
You fool, Mills. I suppose that makes me next.
Yep, Mr. Marlowe. I think it does.
Think again, Mr. Mills.
Who's that? Kay. You were there all the time, and Dietrich wasn't bluffing.
Oh, I love you, Kay, baby, and I'll take the gun now, Mills.
Oh.
Turn it loose. Come on, I'll break your arm. There. That's better. I'll look after this gun until the police get here.
And look after this one, too, Marlowe. I haven't got the courage to use it anyway. I couldn't even shoot Sam Dietrich with it. He's the one I wanted to use it on.
Why? Because of Gigi?
Yeah, because he killed Gigi and lied to me. I promised to help Dietrich only because I figured all three of them would show up here, Sam, Stopka, and Gigi. That way I hoped to find him again.
You were right, baby. All three of them did show up. Only this time they finished their job. For good. It was 10:30 on the nose when we got back to the house. And the highway patrol had just pulled up. So the question and answer period started, and by the time it was over, all the field work finished up. 4 hours plus had gone by. It took some fast conversation, a lot of promises to stay handy, but finally, Kay was left with me. After all, her only real mistake had been falling in love with the wrong kind of a guy. When the last patrol car drove away, the desert was suddenly very still. The stars were small and sharp in the clear sky. The air was cold. Maybe that was why Kay Gordon trembled.
Marlowe, I'm sorry about all this. I got you into it, remember?
Mm-hmm. You also got me out of it, Kay.
Well, I can forget about Gigi, now that I know for sure what happened. And all because of a jerk named Leland Mills.
No, Mills was a desperate guy, Kay. After he buried Gigi, he just about went nuts trying to find the money. When he finally realized Dietrich was the only one who could lead him to it, he shot Stopka and would have killed anybody else, keep him from interfering with Dietrich until he uncovered the hiding place.
You know, in a way, Marlowe, it was a horrible trick of fate. They both picked the same place to bury things.
Not really. Mills and Dietrich had the same jobs to do, under the same conditions. They each had to bury something in a hurry and in the dark. So both of them picked a spot where the ground was soft and one that was clearly marked at the same time, under the water tank.
Yeah. And it... Marlowe, I'm kind of scared. I don't like this place. This spooky little town. The end of nowhere.
Yeah. I wouldn't be caught dead here myself. Let's go, baby. I walked Kay to her car, started her safely on her way.
So long, sucker.
She waved once, then drove down the road and out of sight without looking back. Soon even the sound of the motor was gone. A long night, and a strange reunion. And now 2 lonely lights were the only sign of life in Lonesome, Arizona. I stood on the empty highway for a few minutes and listened to the immense quiet of the desert. Then I went back to my rented car and headed for Phoenix and a plane for home.
The Adventures of Philip Marlowe, created by Raymond Chandler, stars Gerald Moore, and is produced and directed by Norman MacDonald. Script is by Mel Donnelly, Robert Mitchell, and Gene Levitt. Featured in the cast were Joan Banks, Edgar Barrier, Virginia Gregg, Jeff Chandler, Bill Boucher, and Jack Crucian. The special music is by Richard O'Runt. Be sure and be with us again next week when Philip Marlowe says...
It was a weird racket that mushroomed in a world of gaudy canvas, and the man with purple hair, the inquisitive midget, and the lady with strong hands each played a part. But all that was only a sideshow when death got into the act.
Across the nation, communities and the parents of Boy Scouts are observing Boy Scout Week, agreeing with the boys themselves that adventure, that's scouting. Now stay tuned for Gangbusters, which follows immediately over most of these same CBS network stations. This is Roy Rowan speaking for CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
does not pay.
Don't shoot. Please don't shoot.
Keep your hands up and nobody will get hurt. Where's your cash?
In the desk, in that corner.
I'll get it. Make him give you the keys to the jalopy, Jeff.
Hurry, Lucy. You, give me the keys to that car. It's not mine. I only fixed it. One's good? Yeah, good. Don't hit me. Don't touch me. Shut up. Give me the keys. Here, keep away from me.
$40, Jeff. More cash we've seen in years. Got the key? Let's go.
In the interest of good citizenship and law enforcement, we present Crime Does Not Pay, based on the famous Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer series of short subjects. In just a moment, you will hear The Second-Hand Pistol, starring Nancy Coleman. Now, Crime Does Not Pay, starring Nancy Coleman as Lucy Minden in The Second-Hand Pistol. The background was a mining town in the hills of West Virginia. Coal dust, tar paper shacks, a dozen brothers and sisters. Marriage came at 15 because there was no room left in the house. A child was born at 16. 8 years later, the struggle for existence brought mother and child alone to a nearby railroad town where there was a job for the mother. This was Lucy Minden, who took up with Jeff Gardner to try again. With Jeff Gardner, a lost and lonely soul like herself.
Daddy Jeff crying?
Dodie, go in the back and play.
Why is Daddy Jeff crying, Ma?
Dodie, go in the back and play.
Now, let him stay, Lucy. Let him stay and find out what we're up against.
Dodie, I told you something.
Yes, Ma, I'm going.
I'm going out, Jeff.
What for? What's the use?
We've got to have some cash money. I'll get it.
No. You hear me? No.
I never was good enough for you, Jeff.
You? Not good enough for me? What'd I ever bring you?
We were happy, Jeff. We are happy together.
The first time you waited on me in the station diner, you knew I was broke, but you made me eat. It was the first decent thing anybody done for me in years.
I liked your looks right off, Jeff. I knew you were better than me. You weren't born in no mine shanty.
What's happened since we took up together? What?
We had some good times.
Yeah, but mostly bad. You try to be a salesman nobody buys. You work at anything, even track walking. Anything to make $1 for your woman and her kid. You get hurt on the job. You're out 3 months. You come back. The job's gone. No money. No food in the house. Not even a lump of coal. In the mine country.
I'm going out, Jeff.
No, you're not. Lucy, we've tried. We've tried every way we know, and a few we didn't know, to be honest. If I can't earn for you two honest, then I'll be dishonest.
How? What could he do?
I've been thinking like crazy. It's coming on spring. I can pawn the coats. My suit. The jeans will do till later. With what I get, I'll buy a gun, Lucy. They used to say out west long ago, Smith & Wesson make all men equal.
We'll pawn the coat, Jeff. We'll buy 2 guns.
No. Not you.
We promised each other, Jeff. Never nothing we didn't do together. We'll buy 2 guns, Jeff.
That's all I can let you have. $6.75. It's more than the old clothes are worth.
Take it, Jeff. He won't go no higher. I know him.
All right, 6 and 6 bits. Come on, Lucy.
Wait, Jeff. We're going to buy something.
You sell? Now you want to buy. What?
Those on the shelf behind you.
Those guns are registered. You show me your license, we might make a deal. No deal.
You know we haven't no licenses. Anything else you got? Without a license?
Maybe. Old, not guaranteed.
How much for 2 and a few shells?
6 and 6 bits.
5.
1 for 5. The other one I'll throw in. For $1.75.
5 for both.
2 for 6. What'll you need money for? You'll get more soon.
I never thought of that.
A deal. 2 second-hand pistols, $6.
What can I do for you?
2 quarts of milk or a quart pound of butter.
Certainly. Anything else?
Everything you've got in the cash register.
Open the register, buddy. This is a sticker. Fast.
Yeah, of course. Don't have to hold the gun that close. There.
Right. Grab the cash, Lucy. I got the bundles. We got you covered. Don't move, buddy.
$11 is all. Business can't be so good.
Come on, Lucy.
Wait. He's got chocolate candy. Dodie ain't had no chocolate candy in almost a year. He's got 5 pieces. All right, Jeff. Let's go home and feed Dodie. Mom, I'm sleepy. Then you go lie on your bed. Sure you don't want any more chocolate candy?
Sure, Ma. That was good, Ma. We're going to have supper, too?
You bet we are, Dodie. You'll see. Scoot now.
Of course. That was good. Real good.
Lucy, come here a minute.
Just seen Dodie in bed. What is it, Jeff?
Out here on the back porch. Thought we ought to try them guns.
You got 'em out here?
Uh-huh. Loaded, too. Which one you want?
Makes no difference. That one.
Okay. Point it out that way. Ready?
Uh-huh.
Then shoot. Darn things ain't no good at all.
Then let's go back to that pawn shop and get 2 guns that'll shoot.
You 2 again? Yeah.
Here, those 2 pistols you sold us, they don't work.
I told you not guaranteed. We want 2 that'll work. No swap.
How much for these?
$2.
We paid you $6.
Now you told me they don't work, the price comes down. $2. I ought to bust you one.
Take the $2, Jeff.
There.
Now we want 2 that'll work. Guaranteed.
$7.50 apiece.
Give you 5.
7.
6. That's as far as we go, or we take our business
6 apiece. For 2 pistols. That works.
Don't shoot. Please don't shoot.
Keep your hands up and nobody will get hurt. Where's your cash?
In the desk. In that corner there.
I'll get it. Make him give you the keys to the jalopy, Jeff.
Hurry, Lucy.
You, give me the keys to that car.
Well, it's not mine. I only fixed it.
Runs good?
Yeah. Good. Don't hit me. Don't touch me.
Shut up. Give me the keys.
Here. Keep away from me.
$40, Jeff. More cash money we've seen in years. Got the keys? Let's go.
Hop in, Lucy. Fast.
All set, Jeff. Now let's get Dodie. And we'll never see this rotten town again.
Look at the trees, Ma.
Yes, honey, I know. They're green out here.
Dodie, On this side, look at all the cows.
Cows are lazy, Daddy Jeff. All they do is sit in the sun.
Lucky animals.
You ain't kidding. Dodie, honey, tell Ma what I asked you to do.
You mean when we stop or something, Ma?
Yes, dear.
Dodie stays in the back seat. When Daddy Jeff stops the car, Dodie gets down on the floor like tracking Indians and stays there no matter what happens.
That's right, dear. You'll do it, too. You promise.
I promise, Ma.
Lucy, up ahead.
Just traffic cops. This crate couldn't break no speed laws.
Traffic cops don't block the road like that.
You can read it.
Cops have teletypes all over. We've got to stop for it. Now listen. Do exactly as I tell you. When we stop, I'll get out. You slide into the driver's seat. If they're looking for us and they catch on, I'll tie them up and you drive like crazy. Understand?
I understand, Jeff. Dodie, Daddy Jeff's gonna stop.
Can I look at the big motorcycles real close, Ma?
Dodie, you promised.
Yes, Ma. I'm getting down, Ma. Are the cops Indians, Ma?
Dodie, please. Please be still.
Sorry, folks, we're stopping everybody.
Couple of stick-up artists. Car thieves reported headed this way. I don't mind in the least, officer. Try to stretch my legs.
Where you headed, mister?
Up the road a piece. Looking for work.
Where'd you get this car?
It's mine. Why?
Because it's the same make, year, and number as the stolen jalopy we're watching for. Let's see your license and registration, fellow.
Lucy, drive! Lucy!
Not without you!
Look out, Mercy's got a gun! Lucy, don't!
Oh! Jeff, get in! Drive, Ma! It's too loud! It's too loud!
You killed him.
I don't care. I won't live without you. Ma, why are you crying? Don't cry.
All right, Lucy. We tried it, honest. Now I guess we're in for it.
In just a moment, Crime Does Not Pay will continue with the Second-Hand Pistols. Now we continue with Crime Does Not Pay, starring Nancy Coleman as Lucy Minden in The Second-Hand Pistols. Out of the hills of West Virginia and across the border into Ohio rolled Lucy Minden with Dodie and Jeff. A few miles beyond the point where they left the two policemen lying in the road, they stopped the car, made their first swap. On they went, using only the back roads, staying away from towns and cities of any size. For gas and cash and food, they held up small filling stations and stores. They slept in their car. Behind them was a trail of stolen automobiles and rifled cash boxes. And ahead of them, always ahead of them, was the clicking of the teletypes in the police stations.
Here they are again. To all police officers, Pennsylvania, Ohio, West Virginia, Kentucky. Wanted for murder, assault with intent to kill, armed robbery, automobile theft. Couple with child. Last seen driving west on US 60. Description follows.
Description follows. Gardner, height 5'8", weight approximately 155. Brown hair, blue eyes. Clothing, blue dungarees. Minden, height 5'2", weight approximately 130. Black hair, brown eyes. May be dressed in men's clothing. All stations alerted. Michigan, Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, Iowa, Missouri. Approach with care. They are desperate.
Daddy, Jeff, why is Ma taking so long?
I don't know, Dodie.
Ma would come. I wish she would.
She's coming, Dodie. She just came out of that stationery store.
All right, Jeff. I got everything.
What took you so long?
Drive, Jeff, I'll tell you.
You were so long, Ma.
I know, dear, but I got everything. And new caps for Daddy Jeff and one for me, so my hair won't get dusty. And the newspapers and the lollipops for you. And guess what, Dodie?
Ice cream cone?
Oh, not with lollies, dear, no. Look.
Ma, it looks almost real. Almost like yours.
Oh, yes. Yes, dear, almost. And caps for it, too. Want me to load it for you?
Gee, no, Ma, I know how. Boy, oh, boy. Now I can go bang, bang when you do, Ma.
Yes, dear, I know. I know. Only make sure it's make-believe. Please, Toby.
Oh, yes, Ma. If you say so.
You shouldn't have done it, Lucy. It'll look awful bad.
Look bad?
Like we was teaching the kid.
How much worse can it look? We killed, didn't we?
If you'd have done what I asked.
I left you with him. Now, Jeff, I'll die first. Anyhow, look, Jeff, we're in the papers. Front page. Hold up couple saw in 7 states. That's us, you and me, in the papers.
What else do they say?
Known as Jeff Gardner and Lucy Linden, and accompanied by Lucy's child, this couple have terrorized West Virginia, Ohio, Indiana, and Illinois, holding up filling stations, stealing cars. Jeff, up ahead, that hitchhiker. Let's pick him up.
What for? Hitchhikers don't have any...
Pick him up, Jeff. Don't you see? The cops are looking for a couple and a kid. Not 3 grown-ups and a kid.
You're smart, Lucy.
You don't have to be smart for that. Just sensible. Besides, I knew the cops out where I was born. They keep looking only for what they're told.
Going toward Missouri, folks?
We sure are. Hop in. Whereabouts in Missouri you heading, mister?
Why, Hannibal to be exact.
Right along the way, you got a good ride. We're bound for St. Louis.
That's so?
We got to stop down to Bowling Green first. My sister lives there. Well, we got to see her a little bit before we move along.
.127 Green Street, Lucy.
I know.
This where Aunt May lives, Ma?
Yes, Dodie. This is where...
It's a nice house, big tree.
Sure.
What are we sitting in the car for, Ma? Why don't we get out?
The kid's right, Lucy. It'll be better short.
I know. All right, Dodie. Let's get out. Got everything, Dodie?
Uh-huh. Even my pistol. It's keen, Ma. Even if it doesn't make as loud a noise as yours.
Darling. All right. Come on now. Daddy Jeff has to take care of the car.
All right. Don't take long, Daddy Jeff.
I won't. See you, son.
Do you remember Aunt May, Dodie?
I never saw her, Ma. You know that.
Oh, yeah. Must have forgot. Well, she's nice. Looks like me a little older. A little sadder, I guess.
Will she have a bed for us, Ma? Will we sleep in a bed tonight?
Yes, dear. You'll sleep in a bed tonight. Oh, dear, I forgot. There's something I need from the dime store.
Tonight, Ma?
Yes. Jody, you stay here. I'll ring the doorbell for you. Then you tell Aunt May that your Ma and Daddy Jeff had to go downtown for a minute, and I said for them to take you in until I get back. All right?
Sure, I'll tell her.
All right. Give me a kiss.
Yeah, sure, Ma. Why are you crying, Ma?
Who's crying? All right. Here we go. You be good now, understand? Till I get back. Goodbye, Dodie.
Don't be long, will you, Ma? Will you?
drive, Jeff, will you? Before I go back there and make a complete fool of myself. I don't like it, Jeff.
You don't like what?
Where that traffic cop let us go.
St. Louis is a big city, hon. They ain't expecting us in a big city.
We're going to be out here soon.
All warehouses must be pretty near the edge of town.
Oh, I hope so. It don't feel right.
Lucy.
I told you, Jeff.
Turn or right through.
They'll have the side streets covered. Try to get us from behind, too.
You ready?
I'll have to hang onto the wheel. Give me the gun.
My pocket.
Got it.
Here we go again, hon. Fire back at him, Lucy. Fire.
Not unless I have to.
It's just my shoulder. I can try.
That'll teach him to hurt you.
Not much more, Lucy. We make it to that rock and they'll never get us out.
I know. Until we starve to death.
Maybe we'll be able to make a deal with them.
Oh, they won't make any deals. You saw the papers. When they tried to stop us back in New Mexico, they shot one of their own.
Here we are. Up you go.
Made it. You get shot in St. Louis, but I'm the one who's played out in Arizona.
You'll be fine after you rest a bit. My shoulder's perfect. You fixed it good in that room in Joplin.
We slept in a bed. Funny, I never thought I'd get out of Virginia. Look at all the places we've been.
Getting pretty close. I can see some of them moving. They must have rifles. They look so small.
No, on this side. What do you say they call a place like this? Stuck up in the middle of a flatland?
A mesa. Fellow at the last gas station told me. I sure hated to ditch that last station wagon. It sure was a beautiful car. Sure ain't coming any closer.
They're more scared than we are. Jeff, the plane is after us, too. Oh, Jeff, I can't take it. Not anymore. We gotta quit, Jeff. I can't.
Lucy, easy, honey. One of them's yelling at us.
Up there, you! You got 1 minute. Come down or we'll blast you out. It's around it. You got 1 minute, and then we open fire. The plane spotted you. Ain't got your mind. 1 minute from now.
It's no use, Jeff. We gotta quit.
I know. I didn't tell you. We haven't even got 2 shells left for the guns.
Jeff, one thing you gotta promise.
I promise. What is it?
After everything we've been through together, you won't try to take the whole blame. I couldn't stand it. Not to go, and you go. Promise, Jeff.
I promised before you asked, didn't I? We didn't have no chance. Not since we knocked over those cops back home. I knew that.
We didn't have no chance long before that, Jeff. I knew that. All right, Jeff. Tell him we're coming down.
not pay. Nancy Coleman, who has starred as Lucy Minden in The Second-Hand Pistols, will be back with you in just a moment. Now here in person is Nancy Coleman.
I think it is important to the story of Lucy Minden and Jeff Gardner that we point out that these two turned to crime only after a long and fruitless struggle to find the means for a decent existence, honestly. Lucy and Jeff had the traditional 3 strikes on them before they started, simply because of the kind of life into which they were born. Such living conditions can and must be corrected in this great country of ours. We cannot afford to lose good mothers and decent fathers to lives of crime, not when they can be given proper opportunities at so little cost. When the Lucys and the Jeffs of our country turn to law-breaking because they feel there's no other way, it is as much for society as a whole as for this kind of criminal that in the end, crime does not pay.
Thank you, Miss Coleman. Crime Does Not Pay is written by Ira Marion and directed by Mark D. Loeb, with music composed and conducted by John Garth. Technical advisor is Burton B. Turtis. The events, characters, and names used in the story you've just heard are fictitious. Any similarity is purely coincidental.
And now, Gangbusters! Gangbusters, presented in cooperation with police and federal law enforcement departments throughout the United States. The only national program that brings you authentic police case histories.
Of the Metropolitan motor mob, which challenged persistent police in an endurance contest involving a wire snake, a rubber stamp, and $50,000 in cold, hard cash.
Tonight, Gangbusters has asked the Honorable John J. Sullivan, former Deputy Commissioner and Chief of Detectives of the Police Department of the City of New York, to narrate the case of the Metropolitan motor mob. Commissioner Sullivan.
Thank you, and good evening, Gangbusters listeners. I'd like to begin tonight's case in the Williamsburg section of Brooklyn. Early one evening, just about a year ago, in a small, unkempt neighborhood candy and stationery store, an attractive but overpainted blonde sat at a tiny fountain, drinking a soda and reading a magazine. A few steps away, the proprietor stood counting some of the small change, which made up a good part of the store's receipts.
George.
What?
You made the soda too sweet. Will you put in a little Vichy?
Put it in yourself. I'm busy.
I don't know the Vichy from the plain water.
For crying out loud, I'm trying to count up some money.
Nickels and dimes. 10 years you got a candy store. You don't know how to make a soda yet.
Hey, try that. And leave me alone.
George.
What?
Why don't we sell the joint? There's a lot of other things we could be doing nights, you know.
Listen, Belle, it's always a good policy to have a nice little business to fall back on.
Yeah, but a lousy candy...
Hi, Belle.
Hi.
How you doing? Hiya, George.
Call your mother, Cookie. She's at your Aunt Carrie's.
Oh, is that so? When did she phone?
About an hour ago.
George, give me 2 nickels, will you? Listen, your old lady can wait a minute. What'd you do with the car?
What do you think I did with it? I parked it around the corner.
You want to get it stolen?
Well, how's somebody going to steal it?
Just like you did.
Nobody can steal it. I took the jumper off the ignition.
Well, get it in the garage. You ought to know better than let a hot car lay on the street. Some cop's liable to trip over it.
All right, give me a chance.
Give him a chance. It takes him 3 hours to go out to Bensonhurst and lift the car and bring it back here. He wants me to give him a chance. Get it in the garage, Cookie. I want to get it registered in the morning and move it for a fat sale.
George, just let me call my mother. Give me a couple of nickels for a dime, will you?
Here. Call your mother and get the car in the garage.
All right. In a few minutes, George.
What's with his mother all the time, anyway?
Oh, it's psycho, whatever they call it. It's got something to do with Freud.
What's Cookie and his mother got to do with anybody like Freud?
I read it once in the paper, the Mirror, on Sunday morning, a big article in the magazine section.
You think a guy who was long past the 30 mark and has already had 1 or 2 bits in Sing Sing behind him could send his old lady a buck or two once in a while and forget about it?
Well, according to Freud, you get attached to something. It's a proven fact.
Because it was in a mirror?
In Cookie's case, it's his mother. With you, it's this lousy candy store. You're a big-time operator in hot cars. You got to set up with forged registrations and special keys and a whole crew of guys. The money's pouring in from all sides.
So what's that prove?
It proves you got no business spending 12, 15 hours a day in a joint like this. 3-cent newspapers and 5-cent candies. Your ego's attached to it. It's plain psychological.
What do you want me to do? Check in at Bellevue for observation?
I want you to get rid of this chicken feed business and start enjoying the money we've been making.
Listen, Bell, if I told you once, I told you 1,000 times.
How do you like that?
How do we like what?
My mother wants to know if it'll be all right if she stays overnight at my Aunt Carrie's.
I don't see what's wrong with it if your Aunt Carrie's got an extra bed.
She's worried there won't be somebody to fix me breakfast in the morning. Ain't she sweet?
Yeah, like sugar candy.
Listen, Cookie, get the car put up, will you?
Okay, I'm going. Have patience.
Patience. You know, you got a lot of nerve, Bell. Making a comparison between this candy store and Cookie's mother.
Lieutenant Hanson.
Adler, Lieutenant. Sergeant Ryan is out here with one Happy Harry Harris.
Is that the used car dealer?
Yeah, that's right, Lieutenant.
All right. Tell Ryan to bring him in.
Yeah. Lieutenant says step right in.
Okay, Abby, in there. I want the lieutenant to meet one of the prize chumps of our day and age. Go ahead.
Mr. Sergeant, it was a perfectly honest mistake.
Boss, this is Happy Harry Harris. Happy Harry, Lieutenant Hanson.
It's a pleasure.
Sit down, Happy.
Thanks. But I can't stay long. I got to get back to the lot, you understand?
What did his records show, Ryan?
Oh, his records are all right, boss. He just got stung like the rest of them.
Sure, he got stung. These 2 guys drive the car up in the lot, you understand? They say, you want to buy it? I say, sure, I want to buy it. That's what I'm in business for. Registration is perfectly okay with a stamp on it. But to me, it's a perfectly legitimate deal. Nothing illegitimate, you understand? What am I supposed to do? Pass it up and let them go down the block to see my competition?
You should be more careful, Harry. Your dealer's gotten plenty of warning his bunch is operating all over New York and Brooklyn.
Listen, Lieutenant, I'm plenty careful, you understand? Who's out the $1,600 in this deal? Me, that's who. I check every angle. Look, when all a bunch of thieves need is a rubber stamp with the numbers, being careful ain't enough.
Yeah, there's one consolation, Harry. You're not the only one who's been hit.
Yeah, thanks. It's going to make me sleep nights. But it ain't going to get me back to 1,600 I'm out. That's gone, you understand?
What did you remember about this pair, Ryan?
Not much, Lieutenant. Just while they were making out the papers, the little one asked to use the telephone.
Who'd he call, Happy?
The guy, you mean?
Yeah.
Well, it sounds to me like he's talking to his mother. But I can't hear very well. I'm here, he's there. I'm making out the papers, you understand? I'm not paying particular attention. But he calls her Ma, over the telephone, that is.
I've been over this angle with him, Lieutenant. We got everything we need on him.
Okay, Harry. If we want you any more, we'll be in touch.
Yeah, thanks.
And you'll be more careful from now on, huh?
Careful? From now on, I investigate every deal from top to bottom, you understand? Every customer's got to bring his birth certificate. So long.
What number was that, Ryan?
22, boss. And there's no telling how many more we haven't heard about yet.
Don't you think that's just about enough?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Then suppose you start getting a line on those thieves.
Listen, boss, I got Adler, Mackey, and myself, all of us working overtime. We can't even get a smell. These people jump from Brooklyn to New York to the Bronx and back to Queens. pick up a car here, they sell it to a dealer there.
Okay to come in, Lieutenant?
Yeah, Adler, come ahead.
Well, was Happy Harry any help?
Yeah, a lot of help, Adler. One of the thieves has got a mother.
No kid.
You fellas better start making some progress on this. Chief's beginning to put the pressure on me, and I'm passing it right along to you. I want those thieves.
Ryan, how did Happy Harry know that one of them had a mother?
Called her on the telephone from the shack on the used car lot.
Huh?
Come to think of it, that's sort of a strange thing for a thief to do.
All the thieves I know are strange people, boss.
You know, I once handled a guy 5 or 6 years ago. We talked to him about car thefts, burglaries. He talked to us about his mother. What was his name? Copped the plea, got 2 to 5 years out of it, I think.
Oh, it couldn't be the same guy.
You could check him.
Dallas. Cookie Dallas. Yeah, Cookie Dallas.
Well, come on, Adler. Let's see what we can dig up on Mr. Cookie Dallas.
Hey, what are you doing with my car?
Oh, me?
Yeah, you. What are you doing?
Now, look, pal, don't get excited. I was just admiring.
I know what you're up to. I'm going to call the police.
No, you're not. What do you think I was doing?
Hey, what's going on there?
Holy.
How, police officer? How, you?
Hello, candy store.
Hello, George. This is Cookie. Did my mother call?
No, she didn't.
No, But if she does, will you tell her I won't be home to sleep tonight?
What's the matter?
Listen, George, I had a little trouble.
What kind of trouble?
Well, I was working on a brand new Roadmaster seat net, like off the floor.
So?
So the owner walks up out of the dark. I had to bounce him one on the head. And a cop walks around the corner.
Did you get away okay?
Well, I ain't talking for no police station. You know, he shot at me a couple of times. Lucky it was dark enough, I ducked down the subway station.
All right, now listen, we're laying off for a while. Get in touch with the boys. All of you stay away from here and stay away from the garage till I give the word.
Well, George, it ain't necessary. Nobody can identify me. It was too dark.
I said we're laying off for a while. Now go on home to Mama. I'll call you when I want you.
What's it, George?
It's Cookie. You had a narrow squeak. You know, I've been looking for something like this, Bill. Good excuse to keep Cookie and the boys from coming around. We're stopping the operation.
So what happens to the business?
Well, if the business goes on, the store stays open as usual.
I don't mean this lousy penny's worth of this, penny's worth of that business. I mean the automobile business.
Oh, baby, there is now something like 50 grand in the kitty. Right or wrong?
Right, but the kitty ain't all yours, you know. Half belongs to Cookie and the boys as well, and me.
I decided it's all going to be mine. And yours.
So? What made you decide that?
That stands to reason. The man with the brains is entitled, don't you think?
Maybe. Maybe you're right, George. We could get rid of this candy store even if we have to give it away and travel. In luxury, we'll travel.
Oh, Belle, baby, how can I get rid of the candy store or go on business?
You sell it or you give it away or count me out of the deal. I'm tired of going through life with a candy store around my neck like a milestone.
Okay, Bill, I'll get rid of the candy store. But I gotta get my price.
So, Gangbusters listeners, detectives of the New York City Police Department were getting their first lead in their investigation of an annoying auto theft ring. The leader of the gang, who was planning to cut other members out of their share of the loot, anticipated trouble, but they didn't know just how much.
And now, here again is tonight's narrator, Commissioner John J. Sullivan.
Well, New York detectives were just getting a start on their investigation into this auto theft ring. It was the next afternoon when Sergeant Ryan walked from a restaurant toward a car parked on Union Avenue in Brooklyn.
Cookie's coming out, Lieutenant.
Good.
Just paying his check.
All right, Happy. I'll point out this man when he passes. His name's Cookie Dallas. He's an ex-convict with a record for auto theft. We think he may also be the one at whom a patrolman fired 2 shots last night. We don't know. I want you to take a good look at him and tell me if he's one of the men. The one that used the phone.
Yeah, Lieutenant. I'll take a look. But I don't have much recollection for the guy, you understand? The other one does all the transacting. The little one is just along for the ride.
Here he comes, boss.
Look him over, Happy. That one.
You bet. I'm looking.
Well?
When he gets a little closer, my eyes ain't so good, you understand? I need glasses, but I kind of feel it print my personality, you know what I mean?
He's plenty close now.
Yeah.
Is he the guy?
He looks familiar, that much I'll say.
But is he the guy?
Well, I can't say definitely one way or the other, but he looks familiar, you understand? Like I know him from someplace.
That's not enough, Happy.
There goes Adler and Mackey right behind him.
And keep him there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I wish we'd picked up his trail last night. We might have had him already.
I'm sorry, Lieutenant, but if I could identify him, I would. You know me. But the little guy don't pay much attention to, you understand? But I know I recognize the other guy.
Okay, Happy. If he's one of them, sooner or later he'll lead us to the man you can recognize.
Shut this thing off. Shut it off, please.
Okay. It's off, Bill.
6 o'clock.
Well.
6 o'clock on a Sunday morning.
I gotta get the store. Customers will be down wanting the Sunday papers.
Let them get them elsewhere. Who cares?
Belle, honey, I'm sorry. It ain't in my heart to sell the store.
Yeah, well, it's in my heart.
Like you said, it must be psychology, the same as Cookie's mother.
A man with brains enough to work out a perfect racket stealing cars don't have to peddle newspapers at 6 o'clock Sunday morning.
I'm sorry, Belle. I can't sell the store. If I got to give up the car stealing racket and keep the store, I'll give up the racket.
And what if you got to give up your wife?
Oh, now, Belle, don't force me to make such a choice.
Oh, look at him. The big martyr standing there expecting somebody to shed tears for him.
Belle, I can't.
If you stick around the store, how long do you think it'll be before Cookie and the others will want their dough? How long can you stall?
I'll think of something to tell them.
Okay, George. You keep the store.
Oh, honey, baby, I'm glad you can see it my way.
I can't see it your way, George. I just got plans of my own, and they don't include any candy store with newspapers at 6 o'clock Sunday morning.
Sergeant Ryan.
Hello, Ryan. Adler. Is the lieutenant around?
Not right now, Adler. What's doing?
Oh, Mackie and I are still behind Cookie.
Yeah? Anything?
Well, he took his mother out for an evening.
Oh, that's nice.
They left home about 8 o'clock. He took her right to the Paramount.
You go in?
Yeah, we sat a couple of rows behind him.
How's the picture?
Well, I've seen better. One of those high-class Western.
Okay, where's Cookie now?
He's buying his mama an ice cream soda.
Well, what flavor?
Listen, Ryan, how about talking to the lieutenant? I think we ought to give up on Cookie. Been with him since last Thursday, and all we've seen is his mother.
Your idea, Adler.
I regret opening my mouth.
The boss says stick with Cookie, so you stick with him. Maybe his mother will steal a car.
Hello, pal. Hope I ain't too late.
Oh, don't let it bother you, Cookie. There's nothing I like better than waiting in a saloon all alone. Sam.
Yeah, thanks.
What do you want to drink?
Oh, no, not a thing, Bill. I just finished an ice cream soda a half hour ago.
What flavor?
Strawberry.
And you keep me waiting because of an ice cream soda.
Well, it wasn't the ice cream soda. It was a long picture. You can't expect somebody to take his mother out without buying her an ice cream soda or something after, can you?
No, Cookie. I guess you can't.
Well, what's the deal? George ready to start operating again? It's about time.
No, George ain't ready.
Well, listen, what's the matter? I don't see it getting so hot with cops. We got a good thing. We got to milk it. Boys are getting impatient. Not to mention me.
George says no.
All right, George says no. What about the dough I got coming? What's holding that up? I could use it.
Listen, Cookie. If George is so stubborn, we could start right up operating again without you.
Well, sure we could. Without you?
Yeah. You get the boys to lift the cars. I'll take care of making up the registrations and the license plates.
Wait a minute, Beth.
I know how it's done. I've seen him do every one of them. There's no trick to it.
Yeah, but George ain't going to be very happy.
Oh, he'll be happy enough with his candy store. You want dough, don't you, Cookie?
If George would give me what I got coming, I'd be okay.
He won't give you what you got coming.
Who says he won't?
I do.
That ain't no way to do.
He won't give it to you unless you and the rest of the boys get together and get tough. Awful tough.
Whose side are you on, anyway?
I've had enough of George and that lousy candy store. I want to live, Cookie.
Yeah?
Oh, he dreams in nickels and dimes. Well?
Well, give me some time to think it over.
I'm anxious to get started. Start thinking right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm thinking.
Lieutenant?
Yeah?
Mackey just called.
Where is he?
He and Adler were behind Cookie. Cookie took his mother home and then went to this bar in Flatbush. There was a woman waiting there. He went right over to a table and sat down.
Who was the woman?
Mackey didn't know, boss. He talked for a half hour or so, and then Cookie left alone. Apparently went home and to bed. Mackey followed him there, and Adler stayed in the bar with intentions of following the woman.
Then... stay here, Lieutenant Hanson.
Hello, Lieutenant Adler.
Yes, Adler.
Did Maggie call in?
Yes, we know all about the woman. Who is she?
Well, she left the bar right after Cookie did. She took a cab, went right to this apartment house on the bay. She used the key on the street door, went upstairs on the self-service elevator. Stopped on the 4th floor, and that's where she apparently got out.
Any idea who she is?
Yeah, I think so. I woke the superintendent, and he said the only woman of that description living on the 4th floor is a Mrs. George Rossi. Husband operates a small candy store in Williamsburg.
All right, Adler. Go on home and get some sleep. We'll start checking up on this couple in the meantime.
Good morning, George.
Good morning, Belle.
How's every little thing?
Where were you till nearly 2 o'clock this morning?
I told you, George, if your heart's all in this candy store, we're through. I'll make my own arrangements.
And from a good source, I understand you started making such arrangements.
What do you mean, a good source?
How do you like that, George?
Cookie, what?
Hello, Bill.
George, whatever he told you is a lie. It's a plain lie.
Cookie, watch the store a minute. Belle and I are going in back and talk this over.
Yeah, George.
Now listen, George.
In back, go on.
Watch who you're shoving.
In back, I said, in back.
All right.
Now go on.
Now listen, George. Who are you going to believe, me or a party like Cookie?
You should have known Cookie would come running back to me. I
George,
would have gotten
you
away with it. Now I got to give the boys some money. I got to start operating all over again.
Yeah, but that's good, George.
All because you're too high class for a candy store, huh? Well, see if this is too high class for you. I'll show you too high class, huh? Too high class. Now sit down here. Sit down and think it over. From now on, maybe you'll act like a good wife, too. A good wife should stay out of her husband's business affairs. Now, Cookie, I think everything is now straightened out.
Yeah, well, let's hope so, George. One of the boys and me get our money.
Tonight, Cookie. And tonight we start operating again. I'm now convinced the cops got no line from your little incident.
Good, I'm glad to hear it.
Like I said, Cookie, sometimes women get like that. She's what's called a psychological liar. She can't help it, you know. Makes up these stories out of thin air. I read about such a case in the Sunday Mirror. Big article in a magazine section.
All right, Happy. We'll walk by the store again. Take a good look in the window. I've got to know definitely whether that's the man.
Yeah, Lieutenant. If I can identify him, I will. I want to help the law, you understand?
Okay. Take your look. Well?
That's him, Lieutenant. The one behind the soda fountain is him. I know him anyway. He's got that peculiar look, you understand?
Okay, hold it here.
Yeah.
Ryan, come here.
Oh, you know, I've been in the automobile business since Plymouth was a rock. But from where I sit, you never think cops work this hard.
Yeah, Lieutenant. How did it go?
Happy sure George is the guy.
Well, positive. Good.
I want men on both Cookie and George 24 hours a day. If and when they grab another car, we got them right. And that's the way I want them. Right.
George. How's it look, Cookie? It's a new Cadillac sedan.
Doors and windows?
They're locked. That won't be no trouble.
Where's the owner?
I'm in that bar for a drink.
We got time?
Well, can he have his drink in 20 seconds? What are you so nervous about?
Well, it's a long time since I worked on the street.
Well, so what? You never forget.
All right, let's go.
Lean on the no draft ventilator and I'll slip the loop through.
Okay, I know.
All right, lean on it.
Yeah.
That's it.
How you doing?
Hold it.
Hurry it up, will you?
There she is.
All right, get it.
See? I'm an expert.
How are you on the ignition?
Now, just let me handle it, George. Don't get nervous.
All right, then handle it.
You know, George, I'm surprised at you. Considering you taught me this business. Just goes to show you how rusty you can get.
Cut out the conversation, will you?
There it is.
All right, get going.
Oh, what a sweet motor.
Yeah.
You know, George, someday I'm going to lift one of these caddies for my own personal use.
Yeah, looks like we're okay.
There's nothing to worry about, George. It was like lightning.
Yeah. I guess I was just a little upset about Belle. Who'd ever think a wife of 7 years standing would suddenly lose her head like that?
You know, for a while I believed her.
Ah, Cookie, I wouldn't do a thing like that, not me.
Yeah, and then I got to thinking. George wouldn't do a thing like that.
Don't waste any time. Get this thing into the garage.
Yeah, I want to get home. I promised my mother I'd hang some pictures. You know, I got a mother that just...
Cookie.
They're right in back of us.
Gun it. We can leave them in this boat.
Coming up on us. Drive. It's down to the floor now. Take the corner. Hold on. Watch it. I can't hold it.
Bad. Come on. Watch your maybe they're faking.
Oh, that ain't faking.
Adler, get an ambulance.
Yeah, it's a call box on the corner.
Well, boss, I guess we got them.
I guess so, Ryan.
Oh, hey, look at that mess.
You mean the thieves or the car?
The car. The thieves can be patched up.
Yeah, and they'll have a long time to mend.
Well, Gangbusters listeners, these car thieves were taken to the hospital and eventually recovered from their injuries. The whole gang was arrested, tried, and convicted. Its principal members are now serving their terms in Sing Sing.
Thank you, Commissioner John J. Sullivan, for this most interesting case history. And congratulations to all the New York detectives who participated in this difficult investigation.
Tonight's case was dramatized by Stanley Liss and directed by George Zachary with Vandal Kramer and Eileen Palmer in leading roles. Olin Ty speaking. Gangbusters is a Phillips H. Lord production.
Proudly we hail. From New York City, where the American stage begins, here is another program with a cast of outstanding players. Public service time has been made available by this station for your Army and your Air Force to bring you this story, as proudly we hail the United States Air Force. Our story is entitled Robinson Crusoe of Shinz-do. Shinz is the name of the Air Force colonel whose exciting experience prompted this true story. Do is Korean for island. Hence our gripping tale of Shinz-do. Our story in just a moment, but first... America looks up to her men in the sky. Yes, our country looks up to the young men thundering their way to new glory in the skies. Theirs is a task held in high esteem by the entire nation. You are needed to swell their ranks and can do so by enrolling now in the Aviation Cadet Training Program of the United States Air Force. If you are between the ages of 19 and 26 and a half, have had 2 or more years of college and are otherwise qualified, visit your nearest United States Army and United States Air Force recruiting station and ask about the Aviation Cadet Training Program. Do it today. And now your Army and your Air Force presents the proudly rehailed production, Robinson Crusoe of Shinz-do. From out of Korea have come tales that make the incredible seem commonplace. This is such a tale, a saga of one man's ordeal, a man whose survival depended on courage, stamina, ingenuity, and luck.
Hey, turn out that light.
Time to hit it, sir.
Oh, go away.
Yes, sir. As soon as you sign the call sheet, sir.
Well, what time is it?
03:35, sir. Briefing at 04:30.
Let me have that thing. Okay. Now, will you let me get some rest?
Yes, sir.
No, Sergeant. What kind of a day is it going to be?
Cold, Colonel. Cold and gray.
Gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? Good morning. We've got a busy day ahead. Now, this is the pitch. We assemble...
The briefing room crowded and smoke-filled. McDuff, the briefing officer, with his pointer, his shadow enlarged on the map behind him, exaggerating his movements. The pitch is like always. We've got our work cut out for us over a charming piece of real estate called Nig Alley. It's where the commies come bowling down from their sanctuary in the north, and we come barreling in to meet them. And whether you get a strike, a spare, or put one down the gutter, it's a mighty busy hunk of sky, especially on that May 1st morning.
Hey, coming in at 2 o'clock.
My God, there we go!
Damn my tail, Mike.
Al, watch it. Two of them coming up under you. Al!
With Zach's warning, you rack her up and try to pull off to the left. Then wham, you hit me. Hit hard.
Hey, Al, bail out. You're on fire, Al. Get out of it.
On fire. Radio out. In a dive. Vertical control going. Bail out. From the frying pan into the fire. Gotta get away from land. Get out to sea. Pour the coal to a man. When the ships are down, you act fast. By instinct. Bail out over enemy territory and your chances aren't worth being. So you use an old trick. Give her the gun, build up enough speed, and she'll bring herself out of the dive. Come on, baby. Pull up. It works. And so like a porpoise, you alternately go climbing and diving away from the mainland out over the sea. But you can't keep it up. Down to 1,500 feet. Flying a fireball. Islands below. Time to hit the silk. Pull ejector. And like a cork out of a bottle, you go flying head over heels through space. You pull a ripcord on your chute, and then you're swinging back and forth as you float down toward the sea and the possible safety of a little U-shaped island. Numbly you watch what's left of your ship go diving into the drink. Where am I?
Don't you remember yesterday?
Yesterday. Oh, yesterday.
Shot down.
Sailed out and landed in the water.
That's right.
Tried to reach the island, but the tide took me out. Fell asleep. The plane flew over, woke me. The flare didn't work. Took the rest of the night to reach shore. Rough night.
Must have been. When you wake up talking to yourself.
I fell asleep.
Time to be up and doing.
I'm here all alone?
Maybe. Pretty fair-sized island.
You watch the yellow sea beat relentlessly in against the jagged shore, flapping spray over barnacle-worn boulders, swishing in and out of rock caves. Above and behind tower the black cliff heights. Leave the raft. Climb the cliffs with the radio. Set it up and call home for a helicopter. Well, this is a nice climb on an empty stomach. Well, now let's see how this thing works.
Perfectly simple. Just plug in the battery.
I know. There. Now let her heat up. Hit the right frequency. And after a half hour of twisting dials, checking tubes, pleading, begging, you realize you aren't going to call anyone on this radio. She's stone cold dead. And then it hits you.
How long will you be here?
Is this place inhabited?
By communists.
Or by anyone? Is there enough food and water here to live on? All of a sudden you start to shiver. You don't know how much is due to your clothes that are still wet, or the grim realization that you're in a spot. A bad spot. Well, one thing you can do is build a fire and dry your clothes. As for the others, well, take it easy. You'll live longer. Must be about noon.
Your clothes look dry.
No planes. No nothing.
Feel better if you put your clothes on.
Oh, all right. When you're alone, sometimes that other self can be a pain in the neck. He's always so right. You put on your clothes, and of course you do feel better. But you haven't eaten in over 24 hours, and you're hungry. So it's time to have a look around. You move out of the little clearing you're in as cautiously and quietly as you can. The underbrush is thick. And in no time, you sound like a full-flown herd of elephants under a large head of steam. But then suddenly the underbrush thins. And lo and behold, you're on a trail of some sort. You stop. You hold a conference with your alter ego, that other voice.
Better take it carefully.
Well, could be an animal trail.
Not likely.
Pretty well overgrown. That branch seems to head back toward the cliffs.
And that one, over the hill ahead.
Well, I'll take the high road.
Carefully, friend. Carefully.
You move along the overgrown trail slowly. You stop and listen every few feet. Your eyes trying to penetrate the thickets ahead of you. There's no sound. Not even birds. And you can't hear the sea anymore. Only your heart thumping against your chest. Bit by bit, you make your way upward and come at last to the brow of the hill. All right now. Down on your knees. We crawl from here. No trees ahead. Probably a valley on the other side.
Get down. What a tug.
Will you stop buzzing in my head? Go away and lie down somewhere. And you sit still for a moment, getting your breath, almost afraid to look. The bear went over the mountain, and all he saw was another mountain. No reason you shouldn't see, just another hill. You part the underbrush before your face gently, and peer out like an actor counting the house. Ahead, and a little below, there's a small clearing. And what it holds smacks you in the stomach like a mailed fist.
You are listening to the proudly we hail production Robinson Crusoe of Shinz-do. Our story will continue in just a moment after this important message. America is depending on her leaders in the air. If you are a young man between the ages of 19 and 26 and a half, have had 2 or more years of college, and are otherwise qualified, you are eligible to join the ranks of America's leaders in the air. You can become an aviation cadet. The defense of our nation hangs heavily on our air strength, the finest in the world. But we cannot relax our efforts. The Air Force still needs pilots and aircraft observers. If you have the primary qualifications, visit your nearest United States Army and United States Air Force recruiting station today. Ask about the Aviation Cadet Training Program. Do it now. And now your Army and your Air Force bring you the second act of the proudly we hail production Robinson Crusoe of Shinz-do. Alone with an intangible, taunting, sometimes helpful voice of conscience on a tiny Korean island, Colonel Shinz has just parted the underbrush, peers into a small clearing, and sees
4 of them. 4 huts.
Don't panic, brother.
It's a regular community.
No smoke from any of them.
Well, it's a hot day.
Still have to cook.
Maybe taking a snooze. Maybe away for the day.
Growing up all around.
Doesn't mean a thing in my book. The commies are messy housekeepers.
Wait a while. Then circle. Try to get closer.
I plan to, brother, but just don't rush me. Got to get the lay of the land before I move an inch. After a while, you move out slowly, making sure to keep down in the undergrowth. You circle the little clearing. Nothing moves out there. Even the breeze has died. When you get in the rear of the hut, you edge in closer. And closer. And then with a sigh of relief, you can suddenly tell no one is home. Or has been for some time. The thatched roofs are badly rotted. The wall of one hut is about to fall. The weeds are thick. And there's an emptiness to the little settlement that fills you with thankfulness.
See, I told you so.
Yeah, you knew it all the time.
Sure, I did.
I hope I find something to eat. I've got to find something to eat.
That plot over there looks like it might have a garden. Maybe you'll find something there.
I wonder if you can eat weeds. You scrounge around like an alley cat in a garbage can. Your hunger has you feeling weak, depressed. In one of the huts you find an old tin and some loose kernels of corn. Outside you find some spring onions. It's not much, but to a starving man it looks like a feast. You build a fire, scour the tin with sand, and prepare lunch. The corn is bitter, the onions tasteless. But it's your first meal in over 24 hours, and you feel better for it.
Wake up, Shin.
I'm awake.
Your second day is garden spot.
I'm going to take that bale of cotton I found in that hut and make out a big SOS sign in the clearing up on that hill.
Good idea. Better have some corn and onions first. Won't be an easy job lugging that stuff up there.
You're so understanding.
Don't mention it.
You spend the rest of the day carrying hunks of raw cotton up to the clearing, wadding it into balls and fashioning letters 3 feet wide. It's a dandy SOS, even though you feel like you've broken your back to make it. You talk it over with your alter ego. Well, the helicopter will see that with no strain.
If one comes.
One will come. All I have to do is sit tight.
And wait.
Oh, look, why don't you get lost?
Good joke, Al. Good joke.
Yeah, a good joke. You sit by your handiwork and wait until it gets dark, but no helicopter. No, nothing. Finally, you get up and trudge down the hill to the lean-to you made from one of the huts. And after a meal of corn and onions, you lie down and fall asleep. You're lost somewhere in the dark void of sleep, and the sound penetrates the barriers of your mind, and like a lasso tries to pull you back to wakefulness. At first you try to fight it, but as the sound grows stronger, your resistance fades, and then suddenly, like a diver forcing himself to the surface of the sea, you come awake. Then you're on your feet and running, flare pistol in your hand, a plane right over you, and lo! You pull the trigger, and the bright red balls of the flare soar beautifully and brilliantly into the night sky. They're so bright, how could anyone miss them? Hey, you up there, look, will you look? The sound of the passing plane fades fast. The 3 red balls of fire wink out, and you stand in the darkness, empty and alone. The next day you decide to keep a diary. The notebook in your pocket will serve. Each page will mark a day, you tell yourself, regardless of what you put on it. 36 pages later, you sit in the beat-up old swivel chair you discovered 33 pages ago and read over the record of Al Shinz, Robinson Crusoe of Shinz-do.
Page 3. Made SOS of corn stalks. Will set fire to them if any planes come over at night.
That's a dandy idea, too. How many times hasn't it worked?
A peach of a fire, but a complete failure is an SOS.
On what page did I find the village? Oh, yeah, here it is. Found 15 hut settlements. Only inhabitants, rats. Cleaned out hut and moved in. Biggest find, food. And a well providing water.
You would have starved, brother, if your luck hadn't held.
Well, don't remind me. Page 20. Tired of you guys not seeing my SOS. Going to build a bigger one.
Page 21. Windstorm blew SOS to shreds.
That was great. Built another one while the cuckoos laughed at me. Never thought I could work up a hate for a flock of silly birds.
Page 22. You to be rescued.
Yeah. That was the understatement of the age. That was the day the boys came swarming all over Shinz-do and mistook me for a native. Well, with these rags, it's no wonder.
That was the day you thought the helicopter would surely come.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the day I nearly went off my rocker.
Page 31. 6 planes came over.
Oh, all right, that's enough. Get caught out of uniform again. They mistook me for a Korean. Can't I do anything right?
Get a hold of yourself, stupid. Don't crack up.
No, I'm not going to crack up. Not now. These scissors. These rusty old scissors are going to see to that. Yeah, I should have been a barber. What a crew cut. And hardly any beard at all. Next time they come over, they'll see I'm for real. If my wife Lorraine and the kids could only see me now. And if only I could see them. All right, cut the sob stuff. Get hold of yourself. It's getting dark.
Time to get some sight time.
You know, every now and then you come up with a reasonable suggestion. To bed. Tomorrow's another page. Page 37 in the book of Robinson Crusoe Shinz. On the 36th night, you fall asleep quickly. Your spirits are up. A rusty pair of scissors did the trick. With them, you hacked off the matted mess of your hair and cut your beard down as close as you could. Now asleep, you dream of home, and peace, and other times when all reality is wiped out in the illusionary film of remembrance. You sleep unknowing and unaware of the stealthy, relentless approach of others.
Quiet fool. He lies there, near the fire. A knife would be best. I would be honored. Just watch your feet, brother to the ox.
They creep up on you like thieves in the night, noiselessly. They speak a tongue you wouldn't understand, but their purpose needs no tongue. They're coming for you. And you sleep on, easy prey, helpless.
He sleeps soundly. Fool. He'll make him sleep sounder. A man can die but once. Be still, you cackling old woman.
Man must have a seventh sense that never sleeps. For suddenly your dreams fade and you lie on the borderline between wakefulness and oblivion. But you don't get the chance to cross over gently.
Now quickly.
As rough hands grab you and drag you awake, a piercing ray of white light blinds you. Your hands go to your eyes. Terror fills you. The voices behind the light are guttural and friendly. You lie there paralyzed, knowing this is the end, waiting for the impact of the bullet to slam into you.
Look! American officer!
What is...
We are friends. We help.
And with those words, you go limp. Then suddenly you're laughing and crying at the same time. You start to shake and you can't stop. It's not the end. It's not the end. You're saved and you sit there howling like a maniac.
We are South Koreans. We come north in sampan boats looking for a communist outpost. Oh, we see your fire. We think you're coming. We come to kill you.
Well, if you shot first and asked questions later... Oh, brother.
Oh, no. We don't shoot. Use knife. Cackling old woman. He talks too much.
It's all right. Let him talk as much as he likes. I haven't had anyone to talk to but myself for so long, I'd forgotten what another voice sounded like.
You have been here a long time?
Yes, long time, boy. Long time. When can we leave?
You know better. Be live soon.
Well, what are we waiting for? That beat-up sampan makes the Queen Mary look like a scow to you. She bobs on the sea in all her rickety glory, and your three grinning rescuers are all princes of the realm. For the first time in 37 days, you relax as you sail away from Shinz-do for all time. And unbelievably, you find yourself at Air Force headquarters in South Korea little more than 5 hours later. There you give your first important order. Sergeant, I'm hungry.
I can bet, sir.
I'd like to order some food.
Shoot, sir.
Shrimp salad. You better have a standby on hand, too. I might find I like it so much I'll have a second.
2 shrimp salad.
Yes, the biggest filet mignon in the Far East.
I'll see to it myself.
Good. French fries by the carload. Salad, eggs, coffee. And when you put it all away, and, brother, you put it all away, you feel almost human. So you do something you've been hoping and praying for 37 days you'd get the chance to do. You make a call. A long-distance call to Ottawa, Illinois. And when you hear a voice, you can't talk. And then when you manage to say something, she can't talk. So for a while, neither of you make much sense. And then finally, over it all, she shouts, "Where in the world have you been?" And you? What do you say back? You say the only really sensible thing a guy could say. Me? Well, I've been playing Robinson Crusoe without Friday.
story you've just heard actually happened to Colonel Albert W. Shinz, United States Air Force jet pilot. Robinson Crusoe of Shinz-do. Here is a message for the young men listening to this radio program. Right at this moment, America is recording a new history in the skies. The men who fly with the United States Air Force are helping to achieve greatness for their country. And there is a place for you. You can apply now as an aviation cadet in the United States Air Force. You can qualify if you are between the ages of 19 and 26 and a half, have successfully completed 2 or more years of college, and can measure up to the other requirements. For complete information, visit your nearest United States Army and United States Air Force recruiting station today. Ask about the Aviation Cadet Training Program. This has been another program on Proudly We Hail, presented transcribed in cooperation with this station. Proudly We Hail is produced by the Recruiting Publicity Bureau for the United States Army and United States Air Force Recruiting Service. This is Kenneth Banghart speaking and inviting you to tune in this same station next week for another interesting story on Proudly We Hail.
Sherlock Holmes considered himself as the only unofficial consulting detective, and rightly so. In point of fact, Holmes worked outside the law. If he'd been a policeman working for Scotland Yard, he would certainly not have had the freedom that allowed him to use his unorthodox methods. This both pleased the police and frustrated them. Pleased them because he almost invariably let such men as Inspector Lestrade and Inspector Gregson take the public recognition for a case that he had solved. Frustrated them because he could literally work on a case using his own specialized abilities while they had to stay within prescribed limits. Yet Holmes did respect the law, for he was in fact an amateur and felt it best to have a healthy relationship with the professional police. This encouraged such men as Lestrade and Gregson to bring various unsolved crimes to him for his solution. His freedom outside the restraints of the law allowed him to assume many roles in disguise and to work with Watson as his accomplice. Excellent examples of this kind of work can be found in such original stories as A Scandal in Bohemia, The Man with the Twisted Lip, and The Illustrious Client, to name but a few. He often broke open safes to get information, set fires to force some action out of an individual, such as Irene Adler, or broke into homes in order to gain access to information that would lead to the solving of the crime. Any admonitions by the police were soon dropped when Holmes produced the criminal or solved the crime. Most of this work was done by Holmes and Watson in London or various other parts of England. In The Waltz of Death, Holmes and Watson find themselves in Vienna on a case. Now here, on foreign territory, and completely outside the orthodox methods of the English police, Holmes had even more free rein. He still used his brilliant sense of deductive logic, but now he did not have to worry about reprimands from Scotland Yard. And besides, there was new excitement for Holmes when he could deal with murder from other than the English criminal. Join me now as we present Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson in The Waltz of Death.
Petri Wine brings you Basil Rathbone and Nigel Bruce in the new adventures of Sherlock Holmes. The Petri family, the family that took time to bring you good wine, invites you to listen to Dr. Watson as he tells you another exciting adventure he shared with his old friend, that master detective, Sherlock Holmes. And as for me, well, I'm going to tell you about a swell idea. The idea of serving Petri California sherry before dinner. Tomorrow night, just before dinner, instead of that last-minute rush, take it easy. Pour yourself a glass of Petri sherry. Now, if you'll do that just once, I wouldn't have to say another word about Petri sherry. You'd be a customer for life. Because Petri sherry is good wine with a capital good. Judge that Petri sherry any way you like. By its beautiful amber color, its heart-of-the-grape aroma, or by the best test of all, its flavor. Petri sherry is delicious. And you have a choice of two kinds, Petri regular and Petri dry sherry. If you're not sure which you'll like better, try them both. Don't buy one, buy two. But remember, always buy Petri. And now I'm sure our good friend Dr. Watson's expecting us. Let's go in and join him. Good evening, Dr. Watson.
Good evening, Mr. Bartell.
All set for tonight's story?
Yes, madam, I'm all set, Mr. Foote. It began in Vienna in 1889. The old Vienna of bright lights, lovely ladies, and lilting music.
What were you and the great Sherlock Holmes doing there, Doctor?
Mr. Bartell, what were we doing there?
Yes, sir. Were you just taking a trip?
Oh, in those early days of our association, we didn't have either the time or the money for trips. No, we were in Vienna with the express command of the Emperor Franz Joseph. It was in October, I remember, that we arrived in the city. But for several days we were forced to cool our heels awaiting the imperial pleasure. So on one of those idle evenings, with the good services of our friend the Chief of Police, Count Frano, secured us an invitation to a resplendent ball that was being held at the palace of Princess Stephanie von Kram. It was an incredibly colourful spectacle, Mr. Bartell. A string orchestra high in the gallery of the palace ballroom played a haunting Strauss waltz, while on the floor below, a team of Viennese aristocracy swayed and glided gaily to the lilting music. I can remember the picture so well, Mr. Bartell, that Holmes and I stood there talking to the Chief of Police, Count Frano.
A colourful scene, is it not, gentlemen?
It must be a real holiday for you and Mr. Holmes.
What makes you say that, Watson?
Well, it's hard to think of the criminal world when one looks at such a gathering.
And yet Count Frano knows as well as I do that the criminal is not confined to class or environment.
Indeed, no, Mr. Holmes. I can assure you that every guest here tonight has been scrutinized as he entered.
Yes, I imagine that many plainclothes men are present in this room now, aren't they, Count Frano?
Oh, yes. We take no chances.
I suppose you can't afford to. There's enough jewelry being worn here tonight for a king's ransom, I should say.
The waltz is finished. Now I can present you to our hostess, Princess von Kram. Stephanie, my pigeon.
My pigeon? Must know the princess pretty well.
Yes, I'm glad to see that in Vienna the profession of criminal detection carries no social stigma.
Allow me to present you Mr. Sherlock Holmes, Dr. Watson, the Princess Stephanie von Kram.
I'm very honored to meet you, Your Highness.
I'm most happy to meet you, gentlemen. Permit me to introduce my protege, Jonas Hurvat.
the Hungarian composer?
This ball tonight, Mr. Holmes, will mark a rare occasion. A signal honor is to be conferred on Herr Horvath and myself before the night is through. Next waltz is a new composition of his. Tonight will be its debut.
Indeed, how very interesting.
It is a great honor the princess has conferred on me. A new composition could not possibly be presented under more auspicious circumstances.
Counterspy, you spoke of an honor in connection with yourself.
May I tell them our secret, Stephanie?
No, I will tell myself, Anatole. After your waltz has been played, Janusz, and Anatole and I shall be the first to have the privilege of dancing to it, my father is to make a public announcement. He is to announce my engagement to Count Anatole Urefano.
Oh, indeed, my congratulations to you both. Lucky fellow.
Am I not the luckiest of men? Is she not exquisite? I, the gay man of Vienna, the cavalier who swore that no one woman would ever capture him. I confess it, gentlemen, I'm in love. Oh, but I pity you. Even the great waltzes of Vienna could hardly be worthy of this moment.
Oh, Anatole, you are a born flatterer. Oh, come, the waltz is about to begin. I shall see you gentlemen later.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Wiedersehen. The orchestra is tuning up there, Robert. I imagine this is a great moment for you.
A very frightening one, I assure you, my friend. In a few minutes I shall know whether my new work is to be crowned with success or failure.
Dr. Farlow is leading the princess to the center of the floor. The conductor is raising his bottle.
This is your moment, Herr Horvath. Good luck.
Pray for me, gentlemen. Pray for me.
There they go, the princess and Count Farlow. They're starting the waltz.
Ah, they make a striking pair, don't they?
Here come the other couples out on the floor. Charming. Quite charming. It reminds me of... Great stop that dancer on the side.
It's the princess. She's been shot. Come on, Watson. Out of the way, please. Out of the way. Count Farlow. What happens?
Stephanie, Dr. Watson, see what you can do for her.
Count Farlow, there's nothing I can do, I'm afraid. She was shot through the brain. She died instantly.
Stephanie is dead.
Stop that devilish music! Lock all the doors! There's a murderer to be found!
Count Farlow, have you found any clues? One of my men found a revolver. It had been thrust into the earth of a potted palm.
May I see it, please?
Of course, here.
Rammed into the soft earth. Confound it. Count Farlow, your fiancée was an extremely beautiful woman. You must have had rivals.
Yes, several, but none of them are present tonight.
Who will inherit her estate?
A 6-month-old nephew.
Who's his guardian?
The Emperor Franz Joseph himself. No, Mr. Holmes. I know of no obvious motive for someone wishing poor Stephanie dead.
Well, perhaps it was a political crime. She was a wealthy aristocrat and a very prominent one.
Yes, it's very possible. Many nihilist assassins have been active in my country recently.
Meanwhile, we have a ballroom full of suspects waiting for us.
I was just going to suggest we went back there. We can't find very much by staying here in the library.
It's a delicate matter. Almost everyone present tonight is known to me personally.
May I suggest that you go back to the ballroom and have the male guests file past you? Detain for questioning anyone whose evening clothes do not fit perfectly.
Clothes don't fit? What's the cut of a man's clothes got to do with this?
Anyone invited to such a ball as this would naturally have his own tailor. I think, Count Farlow, if you found a man who had to hire his costume, he might be an imposter and may well prove to be your assassin.
Well, Mr. Holmes, your plan has not been effective so far. You find one Englishman who is unusually badly dressed, and what do we discover? He's an English milord whose luggage was lost on the train.
Yes, and the second suspect proved to be a perfectly respectable Viennese doctor whose nasty little child had taken a last-minute snip at his tailcoat with a pair of scissors.
And the third was poor Horvath, the composer, who cannot yet afford a good dress suit, eh? Well, Count Farlow, why not have the next suspect shown in?
Yes, of course.
Schuber, bring in the next man. Ja, Herr Frank. Kommen Sie herein, bitte. Ein, bitte. What a frightful-looking fellow.
Your name, please.
My name is Gruning. What do you wish with me?
Gruning? Your name was not on the list of invitations.
One moment, please. Let me see your right hand, Herr Gruning.
You have no right to touch me.
Where did you get these fresh earth stains? Your right thumb is pitted and the nail is full of dirt.
What does that poor policeman...
Not a short while ago, you tried to hide your revolver by ramming it into an earth-filled flower pot. Near that revolver, please, Count Farlow. It will be easy to compare the samples of earth.
Will not be necessary.
Well, you admit that you murdered the princess tonight, then?
Certainly, I admit it. Why did you kill her? She was an aristocrat. She was an oppressor of the poor. I'm glad I killed her. One day I and my party will kill all of you filthy aristocrats.
Put down that revolver.
Shoot him like the dog he is.
No, Caprofano. Even you can't take the law into your own hands.
Why do you not shoot me? I'm not afraid to die. I haven't taken away Shoba.
Thank you for stopping my hand just now, Doctor. But when he spoke of Stephanie that way, I could have killed him just as he killed her.
Very understandable impulse, sir, but one that would have ruined your life.
My life? Now that she is dead, my life is empty. What right do love and beauty have to exist in a world that no longer holds Stephanie? She was all light and life, happiness. And now that I am hardly displaying my Viennese blood, am I? The murder is caught, thanks to you, Mr. Holmes, and my life, such as it is, must go on. Somehow.
That's how the story began, Mr. Bartell.
Began? It sounds like the end of the story to me, Doctor.
Far from it, my boy. The next day, Holmes and I had our interview with His Imperial Majesty and learned the nature of the services expected of us. Services that required our leaving the city. And that's why, my boy, we were gone from Vienna for some weeks. We didn't know that during our absence, Herr Holbert's waltz, which had had such a tragic debut, was beginning to make a sort of morbid history.
The Horvath Waltz. We have had many requests for it. Gladly, we will play it, Herr Baron.
Isn't the Horvath Waltz they are playing?
Yes, my dear, and she was working on to the floor to dance to it. Leah Mollenstein, the actress. A beautiful creature.
Are you trying to make me jealous, Hans?
Gott in Himmel, it's Leah Mollenstein! She's been shot!
A new ballet, and to the music of the Horvath Waltz.
Magnificent. Never has Krasnova danced better.
Have you ever seen such exquisite pirouettes?
In 4 weeks, Schober. All beautiful women and all killed to the music of the Horvath Waltz. There's a homicidal madman at watch in Vienna. There's only one thing to be done. We must forbid absolutely the playing of that waltz by imperial decree.
Yeah, all of this, Mr. Bartell, until we return to Vienna.
And then, I suppose, Sherlock Holmes was drawn into the case again.
Yes, my boy. Holmes made a close study of the newspaper reports on the tragedies, and it was with great difficulty that I tore him away from his investigation. The tender reception in which the Emperor was to thank us for our services on the mission that we just completed. As we arrived at the Imperial Palace, almost the first person we ran into was the Hungarian composer, Jan.
Dr. Watson, you have heard of the tragedies connected with my waltz?
Yes, we have indeed.
I was making a close study of the newspaper reports on them just before I came here.
You must do something, Mr. Holmes. People will hardly listen to other music. They want my waltz. But that is forbidden. I'm losing a reputation and a fortune while that waltz remains unplayed.
Or perhaps, Herr Horvath, you are laying an excellent foundation for a later reputation and fortune.
What do you mean?
All this publicity, however distasteful to you at the moment, must in the long run prove invaluable. Ah, there you are, my dear Count Profano.
Mr. Holmes, Dr. Watson, I'm glad to see you back in Vienna. You've heard of the murders?
Yes, Count, we were just discussing them.
I need your help again, good friend. For over a month now, the murder has been at large, and I cannot seem to get on the trail.
Well, I'm grooming the first killer. What did you think of him?
Released him.
What? Released him? Great Scott, why?
At the hearing, it was obvious the man was an egomaniac. He boasted of the murder of Stephanie, apparently out of vanity. The liberal newspaper editors made quite an issue of the case. They brought pressure to bear, and we had to let him go. Confound it.
I wish I hadn't left Vienna.
Well, if the fellow's at large again, Count Profano, it's pretty obvious that he's the murderer of the other women, too.
The contrary, Doctor. He was in prison until yesterday. The last of the murders was committed 3 days ago. Oh, here comes His Imperial Highness Franz Joseph.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Your Highness. Good evening.
Well, I see we have very distinguished company tonight. Not only the masterful Sherlock Holmes and his colleague, Dr. Watson, are English friends of your honor, but I see that we have a distinguished representative from our Hungarian Empire, Ernest Horvath. A great success, I'm told, as a breed of composers for whom Vienna is famous.
Your Imperial Highness is most kind.
There's a pipe organ in here. It's in excellent condition, I'm told. Will you not play one of your compositions, Herr Horvath?
I shall be most honored, Your Highness.
Sit down, gentlemen, sit down.
Thank you.
What shall I play, Your Imperial Highness?
Anything you wish, old man. Anything you wish.
Thank you, Your Highness. With your permission, I choose to play...
Great heavens! He's playing the death waltz.
On your guard, Watson. Even in the Imperial Palace itself, this twirling tune may invoke murder.
We'll hear the rest of Dr. Watson's story in just a second, which just gives me time to remind you that if any one wine could be called the perfect wine for almost any occasion, that one wine would be Petri California Sherry. Petri Sherry is not only a fine before-dinner wine, but it's wonderful after dinner, too. And, of course, when you're entertaining or when guests drop in, whether in the afternoon or evening, there's nothing better than a glass of Petri Sherry. And it's comforting to know that you can serve Petri Sherry proudly, because the name Petri is the proudest name in the history of American wines. Dr. Watson, you certainly left me hanging on a cliff that time. You broke off your story just as the Hungarian composer started to play his ill-fated waltz to the Emperor Franz Joseph. What happened?
At the time, my boy, fortunately, nothing happened. Horvath completed his composition without apparent incident, and shortly afterwards we attended a banquet that was given in our honor, a banquet that concluded with a rather curious ceremony in which the Emperor presented Sherlock Holmes with a medal to commemorate his services. Finally, shortly after 10 o'clock, I remember, Holmes and I, together with Counterspy, left the royal chambers and started to descend the spiral staircase leading to the main hall.
You were greatly honored tonight, Mr. Holmes. I've only known His Imperial Highness to make 3 such presentations before, and they were all to my own country.
We might have made another one. It was about
Please, Watson, please. The Emperor was most kind. I can't help feeling that he over-evaluated my services.
You're being unusually modest, Holmes.
Perhaps because I feel that my visit here is incomplete until I've solved the death waltz murders.
I hope you'll be able to stay in Vienna long enough to do that. Confess I am at my wit's end.
I've been giving the matter a great deal of thought, Count Profano. I have a plan for trapping the killer. It's in rather an embryonic stage at the moment, but over pipes at the hotel tonight, I expect to develop it thoroughly. I shall call at your office in the morning and explain it to you.
I shall be awaiting your visit eagerly. One more of these murders in the newspaper outcry might become so loud that I should have to resign my post as chief of police.
Well, when Horvath made that daring gesture and played the death waltz tonight, it proved one thing. It's not infallible. The death of a beautiful woman doesn't always follow the playing of the melody.
Very true, Doctor, but...
Yes, sir?
Strike a match, will you?
Huh?
There's a figure here slumped on the landing.
It's got it. Body of a girl.
And a very beautiful girl, too.
Shot through the forehead. You're wrong, Watson. The death waltz is infallible, but I swear to you that the killer has struck for the last time. Hello, my dear Count Profano.
Yes, I followed the instructions you gave me this morning, Mr. Holmes. Chainbaum says at the moment the smartest restaurant in Vienna. I've reserved the best table for you, and I've invited the guests that you named.
A strangely assorted couple, I must say. Janos Horvath composed and that grinning fellow, the one that admitted shooting your fiancée, Count Profano.
As much as I could do to keep my hands off him when he arrived here, Doctor. But Mr. Holmes insisted that I ask him. Just the same, I wish you would tell me his plan. I'm completely in the dark.
In the dark, I can sympathize with you, Count Profano. Holmes never tells me a thing either.
Let's on, I guess, shall we? In a very few minutes, I'm sure that my plan will be perfectly apparent. Good evening, Herr Horvath.
Oh, good evening, Mr. Holmes. Dr. Watson.
How do you do, Herr Holmes?
And how are you tonight, Herr Gruning? Angry having to come here against my will. My party does not approve of these aristocratic petted pigsties. But Count Refrano informed me that if I did not come here tonight, I could expect to find myself in prison. How could I resist such a persuasive invitation?
Hi, come to the third guest round table. I met with your teller 2 hours ago. Miss Banks, I'm so glad that you were able to come.
Hello, Mr. Holmes. I didn't know this was going to be a party, but I couldn't be happier.
Allow me to present you, Count Profano, Dr. Watson, Herr Horvath, Herr Gruning, Miss Barbara Banks from the United States of America.
How do you do, Holmes? I wish I knew what you're up to.
And how can a young American girl afford to come to Vienna, may I ask?
Of course you can ask. My father made a lot of money, and he wanted me to have the advantages he never had.
Your father made money because he ground the faces of the poor.
Oh, my father never ground a poor face in his life.
He was a capitalist. I spit on him.
Oh, that's rather unfriendly. And also, geographically speaking, something of a problem. You see, he's living in Wyoming.
You make fun of me.
Only because you made fun of me. Mr. Holmes, I did as you asked me.
I'm very grateful, Miss Banks.
The orchestra leader didn't want to play it. He seemed scared. But I waved a lot of money in front of him, and I promised to pay the fine as well.
Splendid.
Great Scott, I see it all now.
So do I. You persuaded Miss Banks to bribe the orchestra leader to play.
Mild waltz. The forbidden waltz?
Yes, Herr Horvath. I thought that if the request came from a young American, it might seem quite reasonable.
Particularly if the requests were accompanied by American dollars ground out of the faces of the poor.
You are being unpleasant to me, aren't you?
They're playing at your waltz, Horvath. The death waltz.
Mr. Holmes, this is against the law. The Horvath waltz is forbidden by imperial decree.
True, nonetheless, my dear Count, I implore you not to arrest the orchestra leader until after the waltz is completed.
In which case, since I requested it and it's still playing, I'd like a partner. Will you dance with me, Count Refrano?
I'm sorry, Miss Banks, but to this melody I shall never dance again.
Oh. Well, how about you, Dr. Watson?
Oh, I'd like to hurt you, dear, but I'm afraid I'm not as light on my feet as I used to be. In any case, I was never much of a hand at the waltz. Polka's more in my line.
Dear me, I'm getting an inferiority complex.
Oh, please not, Miss Banks. You'll observe that the general public seems singularly unwilling to dance, too. Not one couple has ventured onto the floor.
How can you blame them? The ones who Horvath may mean death. How can you blame them?
I'm not afraid. After all, Herr Horvath, it's your own music. I'll dance with you.
You're most kind, Miss Banks, and courageous. But to be a partner of the only woman on the floor would mean ruin. An admission of failure.
My third refusal. I'm a wallflower.
No, my dear Miss Banks, the aristocrats, they're afraid. But I, plain, simple Gruning, I will dance with you, Miss Millions.
Bless you, Herr Gruning. And I assure you my father does not grind the faces of the poor.
He does grind the faces of the poor, this I know.
Stop her, it's suicide.
I think not, Herr Horvath.
I think so. And I'll not stay here to watch it.
Where the devil's he off to?
Do not worry, Doctor. I should keep an eye on him.
Yes, and we'll keep an eye on both of them. Come on, Watson.
He's leaving the room.
Last Count Profano has deserted his trail and has slipped behind one of those pillars.
Good Lord, he's drawing a revolver.
Exactly, Watson. He's our man. Put down that revolver, Count Profano. Put it down, I say.
He's turning it on himself. Count Profano! I still can't believe it, Holmes. Not the fact that Counterspy blew his brains out, but the fact that he was a murderer.
Yes, I was slow to believe it too, old chap, and I blame myself for consequence. Two things should have been instantly apparent about the madman who killed beautiful women when he heard the Horvath waltz. Firstly, he must have had some motivation which drove him to such an act.
Secondly, he must have carried a revolver with him at all times, since he was invariably armed when the occasion presented itself.
Exactly, and that factor made me think of the police official. Then, of course, I saw Refrano's motivation. He loved the Princess Stephanie dearly. Her death in his arms was a psychological shock that was more than his mentality could stand.
And when he heard that music, it reminded him of the dead princess and forced him to kill.
That's right, old fellow. You will recall that what he said to us after his fiancée's death. What right do love and beauty have to exist in a world that no longer holds Stephanie? When he heard the music, he couldn't bear to think that other loveliness existed, and so he destroyed it.
But who killed the Princess Stephanie?
The man who was first arrested for it had Gruning. He admitted it. After a little persuasion, when the police arrived, taken back to prison in the carriage, the judge took Count Refrano's body.
It's shocking to think that 7 innocent women have been murdered before this case was solved.
Yes, a fact that will be a constant reproach to me, I assure you.
Oh, I didn't mean that, my dear fellow. We weren't even in Vienna when 5 of the killings took place.
Hello, here comes Miss Banks.
Mr. Holmes, what happened to that funny little man who danced with me?
Herr Gruning? He went to prison, Miss Banks. He was a murderer.
Well, I must say this is a strange kind of a party you asked me to, Mr. Holmes. One of the guests blows his brains out, and the other, the only man who danced with me, turns out to be a murderer. Well, I see now why Father sent me to Europe. Anything like this could never happen in Wyoming.
Look. Elvis walking out in front of the orchestra.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Listen.
Ladies and gentlemen, I, the honest Corbett, wish to assure you, upon the word of the great English detective Sherlock Holmes, that never again shall my new waltz be an accompaniment from Melbourne. Henceforth, its melody will be for life and love and laughter. I have ordered a bottle of the finest Potay sent to each of your tables. Raise your glasses and pledge me as I now conduct my waltz. Free at last from the kiss of death.
Say, Doctor, I really like that story. That was a baffle.
Yes, wasn't it? A highly placed police official and the last person in the world you'd think guilty of murder. I must confess I wasn't of so much help to Holmes in solving that case.
Oh, don't let that worry you, Doctor. After all, Holmes almost missed solving it himself.
Oh, thank you, my word. Thank you. But it certainly was one of the most interesting cases that I was ever connected with.
I know what you mean. You know, I came across quite an interesting case myself the other day.
Oh, say where?
Right in my own house.
Oh, that's interesting. What kind of case?
Sherry.
Oh, because
That's right, a case of Petri, California sherry. You see, I buy it by the case, Doctor, because that Petri wine is really extraordinary. But all Petri wine is unusual wine, unusually good, because the Petri family has been making wine for generations. Because this is so, and because the Petri business has been owned and operated by the Petri family ever since its beginning, and is today the largest independent family-owned wine company in America, naturally the name Petri on a bottle of wine is more than a trademark. It's the personal assurance of the Petri family every drop of wine in that bottle is good wine. Naturally good wine because Petri took time to bring you good wine. Tonight's Sherlock Holmes adventure was written by Dennis Green and Anthony Boucher and was suggested by an incident in Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's story, The Adventure of the Illustrious Client. Music is by Dean Fostler. Mr. Rathbone appears through the courtesy of Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, and Mr. Bruce through the courtesy of Universal Pictures, where they are now starring in the Sherlock Holmes series. The Petri Wine Company of San Francisco, California, invites you to tune in again next week, same time, same station. Sherlock Holmes comes to you from our Hollywood studios. This is Harry Bartell saying good night for the Petri family. This is the world's largest network, the Mutual Broadcasting System.
At first, when Herr Gruning confessed to the killing of the Princess von Kran, I didn't believe it. When the other women were killed, I was sure that Herr Gruning was innocent. I at least suspected Count Refrano of having committed the other murders. But then, that's exactly what Dennis Green and Anthony Boucher wanted, don't you think? The two episodes you have just heard, The Out-of-Date Murder and The Waltz of Death, are part of the new adventures of Sherlock Holmes, starring Basil Rathbone and Nigel Bruce, and are a 1988 copyrighted production of 221A Baker Street Associates. The Sherlock Holmes stories and the characters of Sherlock Holmes and Dr. John H. Watson were created by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle and are used with the kind permission of Dame Jean Conan Doyle. This is Ben Wright. Won't you join me again soon for more new adventures of Sherlock Holmes? Thank you for listening.